Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Game Week 29 deadline stream. There's a lot of yellow flags still, and unfortunately, a lot of uncertainty still as well. The updates we've had have not been very good, really, apart from Anderson. I mean, you can see some of the updates as kind of positive, but there's nothing to 100% say that Wilson, Rice, Haaland, O'Reilly are going to start. And I'm not quite sure what to do. My gut feeling right now is that I'll probably roll, but I'm really not sure. I'm very tempted to sell Elliot. I kind of wish I just kept Enzo Fernandez, to be honest, and sold Elliot Anderson instead. I'm slightly tempted to sell Elliot Anderson to Sharda to bench Wilson. But then I'm essentially using a transfer just so that I don't have to play Senesi. And I'm not really sure about that. Because I think Senesi is okay this week. Yeah, Rice to Sharda is another move I could do, given that Rice blanks in game week 31. But I'm pretty confident-ish that Rice will start. Like, Arteta was fairly positive about him. And it's not a bad fixture, and he's not bad in game week 30 either. Also, just on the topic of rolling, which I know everyone loves, we will get quite a bit of information after game week 29, before game week 30, because we've got the FA Cup this weekend. So we're not going to know for sure who's going to blank and double, but we will get information which will help with decisions later on. So there is also that reason to roll as well. Captaincy, oh my God, it's even worse than last week in some ways. Like, if I know Haaland's not starting, then obviously I just go for Bruno. But if Haaland starts, he's the best captain. So, what do you do? Rice is something, though. He's playing through injury. Is he, though? What am I leaning towards? Probably rolling. But I mean, there is a chance that all three of my flag players don't start. I think Haaland will probably get minutes regardless. But oh god, I just don't know. I mean, I'm even tempted to play a back five and just bench Wilson. What did my copycat do? He bought Danga, or he or she bought Danga Utara. So they are behind me now. But also that means they haven't got a flagged Wilson this week. So I guess they're in a better place for this week. And they also captain Bruno. Surely if Haaland is bench, he doesn't play at all. Why though? If he's bench, why would he not come on? Bench boost, a bench. Jesus, bench boost this week. Is Sharda really on your bench? I mean, if that's your genuine bench, sure. But obviously, it is a midweek game week. There is some slight risk with minutes and stuff. New member, by the way, before the stream started. Thank you very much. Would you sell Rice and Van Hector by Van Dijk and Dango? I already own Sharda. I mean, they're pretty reasonable moves. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like I'm going to be a broken record this stream. Like, Rice, I think it's... If you don't trust him or you haven't got a good bench, I don't mind selling him. But for me, I've got a pretty good bench. But that bench is only good if everyone else doesn't also miss out, you know? So it's really tricky. Midweek and it's spill the goods. No what ifs. Give us the goods on every existing flag. Okay, well, Joachim Anderson, I'm pretty sure will start. I think Rice will start. Wilson, I'm more confident in Haaland's minutes than Wilson's right now, I think. I don't know. I wish I could give you definitives. Like, it's just... I just don't know. Enzo to Szoboszlai, 1 free transfer. I mean, I'd rather have Szoboszlai, but I'm not sure I'd use a transfer on that right now. Start 2, Anderson, Tavernier, Rogers. I would probably bench Anderson just about. I only have Senesi as bench cover with 2 free transfers. Would you sell Rice in this case? Oh my god. I think Rice will start. Rice isn't in training pictures, by the way. Now, that doesn't usually mean anything, but there have been a couple of occasions where a player's not been in training. I think Saka and Timber, and then they've not played. I'd be a little bit more tempted to sell Rice. Here's what I'll say on Rice, right? If you're thinking about selling him, it's never going to be a terrible move because he blanks in game week 31. And like, how big is Rice going to go this week and next week anyway? Like, he's a good pick if he starts the next 2, but he's not going to be a disaster if you sell him to someone else, I don't think. What's playing on my mind is last time Rice was a doubt like this, he started, and I think it was the game where he got like 17 points. Which is kind of crazy. I've just seen the anti-FPL question. I'll get on to that in a second. Mane to Thiago or Munoz to Van Dijk or both from -4. Mane to Thiago, I wouldn't take a hit. Transferred in Wilson Frenzo, have I messed up? Yeah, potentially, yes. There's not much you can do about it now. I wouldn't reverse it or anything or sell Wilson because Wilson's quite good for the next 2. Have Calvert-Lewin, Hill and Strout. Do I just bench boost? I mean, you could do, but I wouldn't risk it on a midweek game week, I don't think. Personally. Sounds like you got a freaking good squad, though. Would you captain Kyle Walker, Bashir Humphreys, or Axel Disasi? Oh, my God. I don't even know who one of those... Like, I don't even know who one of these players is. I'm going to have to look them up. I'm not even going to pretend otherwise. Has Humphreys been playing... Is this where I find out Humphreys has been playing centre-back for Burnley all season? And I've just like completely missed it because, I mean, who cares about Burnley picks? I mean, West Ham have got Fulham. But they're missing Harry Wilson. I would probably just captain... I'll go for Humphreys because up until just 2 seconds ago, I'm not sure I'd ever actually heard his name before. I'm sure I have, but isn't it Rice in picture 6 of the training photos? The guy with number 8 on his back. I don't think so. I did have a quick look earlier. Hang on, I can have another look now. Picture number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What, behind? Oh, no, I don't think so. I don't think that's Rice. I mean, it could be, but I mean, how much time do you want to spend on... It doesn't look like Rice to me, I don't think. But who knows? Like, it's the back of someone's head, and that head is blurred. I'm not really sure what you can do with that, to be honest. Okay, what we got here? Bench one of Van der Ven, Timber, Enzo, Rice, Dango. Not Dango for sure. I really like him this week. Van der Ven, I mean, plays for Spurs, so that is pretty rubbish. Yeah, Van der Ven probably. I mean, he is at home this week, so it's not the end of the world. But I think he would be the one I would bench. I captain Iwobi for this game week. He's just not captaincy material for me. I know it's a good fixture, but his attacking numbers are not that great. He's not that great for DEFCONs. I mean, his minutes will be good. Doesn't have penalties. I wouldn't be that interested in captaining a player like that, I don't think. Rory can do Mukiele to Van Dijk. Would mean benching Anderson or Enzo. Would you do it? And if so, who would you bench? I would probably play Enzo, but I just don't think I would do it. Like, Van Dijk is a good pick if you need a new defender, but I think in your case, I just don't think you do. It's worth saying the flag has come off Anderson because Marco Silva confirmed he'd 100% be in the squad. That obviously doesn't mean 100% likely to start, but I'd be very surprised if he doesn't start now. So I probably wouldn't do it. I'd probably favour rolling the transfer instead. Been a fan for 3 years now. Cheers from Costa Rica. Thank you for watching for 3 years. Sorry to do a video this week. If you had Semenya, yeah, thanks for all the messages, by the way. I don't want to like keep talking about it because I think it's like hopefully going to blow over now. I was gonna tweet saying I'm starting the stream at 4:30. I'll put my Haaland information up at 4:35, and I was just going to have this massive graphic saying I don't have any information, but I couldn't bother to wind people up today. I was going to I've got the same information as last week, absolutely nothing. If you had Semenya, would you captain him ahead of Haaland or Bruno? Lots of people, I will say this, right? There's lots of people out there. I've listened to a bit of content in the last couple of days that really like Semenyo captain. And if Haaland doesn't play, Semenyo maybe takes penalties, although I think it would probably be Marmoush if he's on the pitch. He's obviously doing really well. It's a really good fixture. I just personally, the different like Bruno's stats are better, even though the fixture's harder, and he's on penalties. I just find it difficult to captain a non-penalty taker. I'm not saying I will never do it, but I'm not sure. I wouldn't captain Semenyo, I don't think, if I had him. Not over Bruno. And I'm quite tempted just to switch back to Haaland as well, anyway. So I think I would captain Haaland and Bruno ahead of Semenyo. It's not that Semenyo's a bad pick or anything or a bad captain. It's just I'm pretty sure I wouldn't do it. That's all. I missed the Stickman intro. Wow, you've been around for a long time if you remember that. I think I've probably still got it on my computer somewhere. For anyone that's like just joined and is wondering about injury news, I do try and put as much of it as possible in the ticker below so that you don't necessarily have to wait for me to talk about it. So like, for example, I've put the quote from Pep on Haaland in the ticker below. Guy to Kroopy or sell Rice to Rodgers. I wouldn't buy Rodgers. I also probably wouldn't do Guy to Kroopy. Like, I like Kroopy, but I think you can do better than him. Like, I think because this season we're not really struggling for money, there's no need to necessarily buy someone like Kroopy before someone... Like, for example, I would just... If you're going to sell Rice, I would just do Rice to like a Bournemouth midfielder or Szoboszlai or someone like that instead, rather than buy Kroopy. I can bench Haaland and start Elliot Anderson. If I was going to roll, would you start Haaland? Yeah, I would start Haaland over Elliot Anderson. The upside of Elliot Anderson is not that big. I can bench Rice or Erling for Enzo, but when the bench is done... Oh, but then the bench is done. I need to then make a transfer. Dorgu to Strauk, risk it, or use one free transfer and bench both. I mean, I would just probably... I would just play Haaland, and then Enzo if you want to play it safe. But again, I think Rice will probably start. I don't know if I would buy Strauk. Maybe. I quite like Goodmanson from Leeds as well. But yeah, I'd probably risk it. Play Tavernier or Elliot Anderson. Tavernier, start Stack or Wilson. See, Wilson I'm struggling with. I don't think Wilson is a definite start or not in the squad. I think there is a chance he just gets benched. Again, we don't really know the extent of his injury. Like Marco Silva said, he needs to be assessed. Quick turnaround, like he could be benched. I mean, so could Haaland, by the way. So could Rice. It's not impossible. My personal view right now is that Wilson's the most likely of those three players to get benched. So then it's hard to say to start him over someone else who you know is going to start. Like, Stack's got a pretty good fixture, right? But if Wilson starts, the problem is we're an hour and 47 minutes from the deadline, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with Wilson. Like, I might sell someone to cover him, and I might just play Senesi ahead of him. So my gut feeling right now, even though it could change, is to play Stack and just play it safe and don't play Wilson. I think if you've got someone good, then I've got Senesi, but I'm not playing him right. Stack is going to be my final answer for the next 1 minute at least. Start two of Wilson, Wilson, Anderson, Dang. So I'd definitely start Dango. And then I think I would start Anderson over Wilson. Would I start Anderson over Timber, though? No, I don't think so. So Dango and Timber. Bench and headache. Would you play Rice Enzo ahead of Wilson? Oh, my God. There's going to be so many Wilson questions. Yes. Have a similar defensive midfield as yours, just Enzo instead of Anderson. Yeah, I think Enzo over Wilson, probably. Start 2 or 3, Haaland, Gordon, or Garner. I would bench Garner out of those. Would you bench Rodgers to play Stack? Oof. I do quite like Stack this week. Would you bench Rodgers to play Stack? I'm trying to like put myself in your shoes if I actually had to make that decision. I think I would probably play Rodgers, to be honest, and or bench Enzo for Anderson. I think I would probably play Enzo over Anderson just about, but that is quite close. Why do you think Munoz is better than Senesi? Well, one, I've got Thiago. So there is a little bit of me that just wants to kind of not have my defender against my attacker. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but that's part of the reason. And I don't think Senesi is necessarily that much better than Munoz this week. And this is not a logical reason to do it, but Munoz plays on Thursday and he's my only player that day. And Spurs are just a bit rubbish. I mean, you could argue Senesi is the better pick, but I just think it's a bit more exciting to play Munoz. And I got a feeling I'm going to have to play Senesi anyway. Sell Guia and Haaland to Thiago and Ekitike for a -4. Probably not, no. Need Liverpool cover as I don't have Ekitike. No, you don't. Considering selling Rice to Szoboszlai, Gakpo, McAllister. I mean, if you want to sell Rice, then get Szoboszlai for sure. But you don't have to buy a Liverpool player just because you don't have Ekitike. Tempted to do Chalobah to Mateus Nunes or Gay. Yeah, I'm not actually sure which one I think is best because like Gay doesn't necessarily, isn't necessarily going to get as many DEFCONs in a City shirt, and Nunes is a bit more attacking. I mean, O'Reilly would be the one if he didn't have the potential to not play. I think I'd go Nunes over Gay in that team. But remember they blank in 31. Yes, Sharda bench as starting Dewsbury Hall. Would I play? I guess I would probably play Dewsbury Hall, yeah. Also, is Timber to Van Dijk worth it? Same as last week, right? It's a reasonable transfer, but it's not an absolute must. They're both playing away from home. I'd probably be tempted to just roll the transfer for now. Start 2, Munoz, Timber, Dango, Anderson. I would start Dango and Timber, I think. Enzo to Sharda. I mean, it feels quite luxury to me. I would prefer to have Sharda, but I don't think Enzo is terrible this week. So if you've got the spare move and you can manage everything else that's coming up in terms of the blank, etc., I would probably go for it. Because I would rather have Sharda, but I don't think it's like a priority move. Oliver Sharp, should I roll? Sure, why not? Spurs are getting relegated. Not sure about that. Start Wilson or Rodgers? Probably Rodgers, I think. Rodgers is like where I would go. Enzo to Shard, I just did that. I'm getting distracted. My son is messaging me. I'm going to find out where he is. I've lost where I've got up to. Am I getting Wilson for 30? Oh, sorry. I am getting Wilson for 31. Do I buy him now with Caicedo, Goodmanson on the bench? Or Dewsbury Hall in now and Wilson in 31? I would probably just roll. Dewsbury Hall is good this week, but he's not very good afterwards, so I wouldn't bother with the transfer. And Goodmanson's okay. First season doing FPL, I'm top 50k. Very nice. Now you got to stay there. That's the fun, trying to stay where you are. Well, not obviously you want to try and get higher, of course, but top 50k would be really nice for the first season. I have Bruno, Semenyo, Ekitike, Thiago, Iwobi, who to captain. I would probably go for Bruno, but again, lots of people like Semenyo and Ekitike this week. Start one of Dango, Tavernier, Hill. If Haaland doesn't play, the other two will be first and second. Dango for sure. I'm surprised there's so many people asking questions about whether to start Dango, to be honest. I would bench Hill. Oh, sorry. Only start one. Tavernier because of the penalties, then Dango, then Hill. Double up on Sharda and Dango and move on from Rice. Again, it's a reasonable move. It's a reasonable move if you don't want to take the risk with Rice. Thoughts on Bassi for Fulham now he's back? I think Joachim Anderson's the only one I would really look at there. I think it's probably okay to buy Anderson this week, but it is obviously some slight risk there because he did miss out on the last game. If one of Wilson or Haaland plays, I'd have 11. Would you roll with that and pray or do Dorgu to a 4.4 or less defender? Strout, Bassi. I'm not sure there's enough upside there to make the transfer, so I'd probably just roll. Start one, Wilson, Garner, Senesi. Why not Garner? In a fixture like that. Why not Garner? I'm going to say Garner. Got Wirtz, Rice and Haaland, got 3 free transfers, suggestions. Wirtz out probably. Well, maybe Rice out for you, especially with 3 free transfers. So Rice to, again, Sharda, Utara, Tavernier, players like that. I mean, whether you sell Rice really depends on what your bench is looking like. If you're struggling for players, then sell Wirtz as well. I'd probably keep Haaland. Should I sell Rice to Dewsbury Hall or Tavernier? Tavernier. Captain Ekatike? Sure, if you want to. Again, probably wouldn't be for me, but I don't think he's terrible this week. Evan Nielsen and Rice to Ekatike and Wilson for a -4. No, I don't think so. I mean, you can't buy Wilson for a -4. He's a doubt, right? Oliver, 1 free transfer. Was thinking Haaland to Ekatike and having to either play Enzo or Anderson. Yeah, I personally wouldn't do Haaland to Ekatike, I don't think. Yeah, especially if you've got Enzo. Oh, sorry, Enzo or Anderson? Enzo, I think. Any chance you consider selling Haaland and to who? Look, without trying to get back into everything that happened last week, like if some public information comes out about Haaland, and it says that he's out, then I will sell him. 100%. If we find out before the deadline that Haaland is out, I will do Haaland to Ekatike and Rice to Salah. I mean, I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm pretty confident I would do it. But with the information we've got right now, in terms of what Pep said earlier, I don't think I can go through with the move for Salah based on current information. And by the way, if I was going to sell him, like, it would be Ekatike. There, for my team, there's no doubt about that whatsoever. My preference to buy would still be Thiago, but I've got him already. Start 2, Anderson, Tavernier, Rodgers. I'd bench Anderson. FPS Knicks, 38 months, done it. Haaland to Ekatike, sick of relying on Haaland and getting nothing back. Nice, okay. Starting Wilson, if he doesn't start, get Creepy off the bench. Seems good. Chasing rank, thoughts on Dewsbury Hall and Ekatike and for Rodgers and João Pedro -4. Wouldn't take a -4 personally. I mean, look, Everton don't have great fixtures after this week, and I do like Dewsbury Hall, but if you're going to take a 1-week punt, would you not buy the penalty taker instead and just go for like Njai? Play O'Reilly or Wilson, not sure who will start. Yeah, Pep basically said O'Reilly's the same as Haaland. They're going to have to assess him in training later, so it's difficult to know, right? I guess if I had to guess who's got the better minutes, I would say probably Wilson. But I mean, it's almost impossible to know for sure. Play 2 of Dewsbury Hall, Wilson, Rice, or Mbermo. Mbermo and Dewsbury Hall in your position seems quite straightforward, I would say. Rice to Mbermo and Rodgers to Dango. Or Rice to Mbermo and Enzo to Tavernier, or just roll. I quite like the Rice to Mbermo move. I think that's quite good. Rodgers is more of a luxury. So, like, Rodgers and Enzo are both luxury moves. So, I suspect you've got to do the move for the money, right? To do Rice to Mbermo. I kind of get that impression. In which case, I would sell. Oh my God, Rodgers or Enzo? Enzo, just about. Captain Njai start. Captain Njai. I mean, I know it's Burnley. I know he's on penalties, and I know I've just said I'd maybe bring him in ahead of Dewsbury Hall, but it feels uninspiring to captain him if I'm honest. Start 1, Rice, Senesi, Krupi. I'm going to say risk Rice. Sell Enzo. Do I buy Iwobi, Dango, Szoboszlai? I would probably go Dango, then Szoboszlai, then Iwobi in that order. Captain Bruno Ekatike. Bruno for me. 2 free transfers. Haaland to Ekatike and Rice to Sharda, Szoboszlai. Again, look, I don't mind it if you want to take Haaland on, but I do think from what we've heard from Pep, it's probably more likely he's involved. I gotta be honest. I kind of wish that Pep Guardiola had ruled Haaland out and just said that he's going to miss the game, because I would definitely sell him. And it would just make things way more interesting. Whereas now, I still think there's a chance he doesn't necessarily get great minutes, but I also feel like I've got to keep him. And look, maybe I'll be happy about that when he plays West Ham away in game week 30. But then that's right in the middle of the 2 Real Madrid games. So do I take him on that week? Don't know. Rice/Rogers to Szoboszlai Schade. Any recommendation? I think Rogers is a really luxury move out because he plays and he's got the fixture in 31. So it's up to you whether you've got that luxury. Rice, I would go Schade, I think. I like Schade from a differential point of view. If you want to play it set, like, bearing in mind all the flags we got this week, it's a midweek fixture. Players could get injured as normal. If you want to play absolutely safe, then it's Szoboszlai, right? Because his minutes are looking great. But I like Schade as a differential. Not that Szoboszlai is massively owned, but yeah. Would you do Krupi and Timber to Ekitike and Anderson? I have Thiago. Would bench Dango this week for bench cover? I don't think you need to make moves to... I don't like 2 moves to bench Dango. Just doesn't really make too much sense to me. I get that you've got Haaland and Wilson, so there's a little bit of concern there. Like, Ekitike's good, but had he not scored a massive haul last week, I don't think you'd be looking at a move like that. So I think making 2 moves to bench Dango just doesn't make that much sense to me, to be honest. Need to bench 3 players who? Rodon, Richards, Cash, Rice, Wilson, and Rogers. I would definitely play Rogers. I would probably just bench the... Well, you can't bench 3 defenders, though. So you... Oh, God. Chelsea, Spurs. I don't even know, by the way, if Rodon gets back in the team. I've seen... So I thought Rodon, he's back to full fitness. Or, sorry, he's back available. He just goes straight in. I did see some people question it. My assumption is he goes back in. So I'm going to say I'd play Rodon, Rogers, and Rice, I guess. Enzo, Rodon, Goodmanson, Garner, Diddler. Which 3 would you bench? Wait, is this the same question? No, it's a very similar question. Wilson, O'Reilly, Rice, Garner, Goodmanson, Rodon, Enzo. Which 3 would I bench? So I'd play Garner, I'd play Rice, Goodmanson, and Enzo, I guess. The thing is, if O'Reilly plays, he's so good. I'd probably play O'Reilly. O'Reilly, Rice, Garner, and Enzo. Have 2 free transfers maybe to sell someone yellow flagged. Yeah, you could do that. That really depends on, I guess, your bench cover. But your bench cover's not going to be that bad. So I don't think you need to sell anyone necessarily. If you do, then I'd probably focus on the players that are blanking in 31, like Rice and Enzo. Rice and O'Reilly. Roll 1 free transfer. Wilson, O'Reilly, Haaland. Okay, Dunk, Chow on the bench. Yeah, it's not great. The thing is, who'd you sell out of those? Wilson, I think you want to keep for 31. Haaland, I think it's a struggle to sell him now, unless you're willing to take the risk, especially with 1 free transfer. So probably O'Reilly if you're going to move someone. 58th overall. Congratulations. That is absolutely insane. 1, Rice to Palmer captain. Manny to Raul Jimenez. I wouldn't buy Raul Jimenez. Roll, play Gibbs, White, Haaland captain, Thiago vice captain. NUFC fan, so won't go Bruno. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, Rice to Palmer captain is probably okay, but I would probably roll, I think, in your case. Krupi and Imbermo for Ekitike. Krupi and Imbermo for Ekitike and Garner for a -4. No, I wouldn't. I don't think you can sell Imbermo for a -4. Would you take a hit? Imbermo, Rice, Enzo out for Salah, Tavernier stack so I can keep Haaland and captain Salah. No, don't think so. I'm not really that keen on hits in general, though, so I'm mostly always going to say no to questions like that. Is top 50k for my first year in FPL any good? Of course it is, yeah. Of course it is. I mean, it's good any year these days. There's so much, people are so well informed these days. It's hard to finish like top 50k and stuff. Start Krupi or Sarr or Chalobah. If you've got Sarr, I think you've got to start him. I want to change Rogers. What do you suggest? Knowing that I have Bruno, Wilson, Semenyo. Also, how is Haaland, Wilson, O'Reilly? They will play or what? I don't know is the honest answer. I think Haaland might do. Wilson, I'm less sure about. O'Reilly, I'm really not sure at all. So Haaland's likely to be the most likely to play, but hard to know. Like I don't know how you can justify selling Rogers when you got all those doubts, to be honest. If you want to sell him, I'd go Sharda probably. Would you take a -4 for Rice and Giu to stack a Nekatike? Probably not, because again, I'm not a big fan of hits. I would just sell Rice to someone. Anthony, new member, thank you. I have O'Reilly, Haaland, and Rice, 1 free transfer, Hill bench. Yeah, you could just let Hill come on for O'Reilly and just risk Haaland and Rice. I have the same flags as you, plus O'Reilly, 1 free transfer. What do we do? I mean, I can tell you in about an hour and a half. I'm not sure right now. O'Reilly, maybe I'll be tempted to sell. The problem is the City fixture might go back into game week 31. And if it does, you're going to wish you didn't sell O'Reilly. So yeah, it depends what your bench is, I suppose. If your bench is looking okay, like one thing about my bench is I do have Senesi and Anderson. They're both very, very likely to play. If you're in a similar position, you could roll, but I think I'd mostly lean towards selling O'Reilly first. Creepy, Rice, Garner start 2. Rice and it feels bad to bench Garner, honestly. I probably bench Groupie. 1 free transfer, Enzo to Tavernier or roll and get Wilson next week. I'd roll. Well, actually, sorry. I mean, Tavernier's pretty good. If you're going to sell Enzo anyway, then yeah, just get Tavernier this week. Start Goodmanson or Senesi. Probably Senesi just about. If you want to like not have your defender against Thiago, I get it. Play Goodmanson. But in isolation, I probably just about prefer Senesi. Wow, this is a busy old stream already. I guess that's what happens when there's so many flags. 4 free transfers. Oh, what a nice position to be in. I'm pretty sure I'd be selling Rice and Anderson if I had 4 free transfers. Cash to Van Dijk, nice. Rice to Mbermo, nice. Sharda or Dango. Oh, Rice to Mbermo, Sharda or Dango. Probably Mbermo. Haaland to Ekitike, last transfer. Enzo to Palmer or any cheap midfielder would just make 3. I'd probably just make 3. Or even 2 and not sell Haaland. Bench 1, Tavernier, Rao, Jimenez or Rogers. Probably Rogers out of those. Who to bench out of O'Reilly, Roden or Timber? I think you go O'Reilly because of the flag. 1 free or use 1 free transfer. No, I don't think so. Laws, Evan Nielsen to Thiago, free transfer done. Okay, nice. Not free transfers left. Verts Rice, -4, -8, or play the subs. Hillman. Yeah, you don't need a -4 or a -8. Congrats on the rank in the 500k. Thank you. I would not take. I would just play Rice. I mean, your bench is pretty good, to be honest. So Haaland and Wilson to start. I don't know. Gut feeling is Haaland got an okay chance to start. Wilson less so, in my opinion. But then maybe that's partly because of what Pep said. Now I don't really want to sell Haaland, so maybe I'm kind of telling myself he's going to start. Do I truly believe that? I don't know. It's interesting because we don't really know what the injury was either. So Pep got asked in the press conference the other day, is it a knee problem? And he said no. And then today the journalist said, I know he's got a knee problem or I know he took a knock on the knee. Is he available? And Pep just didn't really mention what the specific injury was at all. Not that that really matters whether it's a knee injury or not, but if it is a knee injury, does that make it less likely that he would just go straight back into the 11? I don't know. You've got Bruno as captain, but Haaland #1. Yeah, there's a note in the ticker at the bottom that says Haaland is the best captain in my opinion. If you think he starts, if you don't think he starts, then obviously he's not the best captain. So that really depends on your expectations. Right now, I don't know if I want to take the risk on Haaland's minutes. Maybe that changes. I've got him vice captain. Maybe I shouldn't even have that. It's just honest. I'm kind of stuck in 2 minds because if I keep Haaland, it feels wrong to not captain him. But I also don't really want to sell him now because of what Pep said. And there is part of me that just thinks. There is part of me that just thinks sell him. I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah, like it doesn't necessarily work like this, but there is part of me. Oh god, hang on. There is part of me that just thinks if you're not going to captain him, just sell him. Yeah, so Rob T has just posted updated market odds, but it's only a small fluctuation. It's only a small fluctuation for Man City. That doesn't really suggest that Haaland's definitely out, to be honest. Like the one before where it looked like he was, that was like a huge jump in the odds. So I wouldn't really worry about that too much. I like it doesn't really help us make the decision anymore. Yeah, I don't know. Am I still listening to Phoenix? Yes. Thanks for the heads up. What will I put on? I'll put on Eminem. Why not? Where did we get up to? Oh my day! Can I just say, right, I'm never going to keep up with all these messages over the stream. There's so many already. Not that it's a problem. I'm just saying it's freaking busy. Nearly 10,000 people watching. Make sure to give it a like. Why not? Hit that subscribe button. Less than 9k to go now until the big 500k, and then we just try and get to 510k, I guess. Where did I get up to? 4-3 chance did that one. Bench one, Tavernier, Raul, Jimenez, or Rogers. Thinking of wildcard as I've dropped from 18k to 20k in the last 10 game weeks. How's this? Kelleher, Timber, Gabriel, Van Dijk, Sharda, Semenyo, Mbeumo, Fernandes, Ekitike, Thiago, Calvert-Lewin. Like that's your. I don't know if that's your wildcard of your team. I mean, my gut instinct is I wouldn't have 2 Arsenal players on wildcard because they're about to blank in 31. Honestly, wildcard's really difficult because you don't know what's going to happen in 33 in terms of who's going to double. This is the problem, right? Arsenal are going to blank in 31. So's Munoz, who you've got. So's Semenyo, as it stands. So you've got 4 players. You're wildcarding. You've got 4 players that are going to blank. But then you might want Arsenal players in 33 if they double. Same for Man City. Then again, I guess if Man City beat Newcastle in the FA Cup, they go closer to doubling in 33. But if they lose to Newcastle, they go closer to having a game in 31. So then they wouldn't blank. But then you'd want Fernandes, right? Honestly, wildcard, I think, is just a headache. In general, I think that looks okay, but I'm not sure about double Arsenal, to be honest. Or I definitely wouldn't have Munoz on wildcard. Who to bench out of O'Reilly, Rodon, or Timber? O'Reilly, I think. I wouldn't use the transfer. I did that one already, didn't I? Oh, I've done maybe. Okay, I think I missed that wildcard question before, but I did a lot of the questions around it. Manny and Rice to Sharda and Calvert-Lewin for free, or roll and play one of Sarr, Enzo. I'd probably just play Sarr. Sarr and Enzo are both okay. Start one, Timber, Rodon, or Trufair. Timber, have Wilson and Haaland flagged and only Enzo on the bench. Should I roll or do Dorgu to either Juve? No. Alderete, probably not. Rodon, no. Or Goodmanson. Goodmanson, probably. But I don't think I would do it for bench cover. I would just hope for minutes from one of those 2 players. In draft, drop Elliot Anderson for Sharda. I mean, Elliot Anderson's quite consistent, but I'd be tempted to get Sharda, yeah. I have 2 transfers, Mane to Ekitike and Cunha to stack. That sounds pretty good to me. Start Goodmanson or Munoz. Start Dango or João Pedro. Dango. Dango, yeah. Close, though. Captain Haaland or Bruno? Great question. Bruno is the safe play, I think, in terms of he's going to start. Haaland's better if you think he starts, if that makes sense. 5 points difference in our min league. Certainly the other 3 will be on Bruno. 5 points is nothing, though. I wouldn't go different for 5 points. I would go for whoever you think is best. If anything, if that's all you're worried about is that min league and you think everyone else is going Bruno, I'd be tempted to go Bruno as well. Because it's only 5 points. There's loads of weeks left. I have 3 red flags, 4 yellow. Wildcard now, free hit 31. There's no way I would free hit in 31 if you're wildcarding now. I think you've got to save that for the double in 33, blank in 34. Would you take a -4 to sell Rogers for Wilson? Nope. Well, definitely not. Wilson's flagged. Rice, Evan Nielsen, and Haaland potentially out. Can't afford Evan Nielsen to Ekitike. I've got Enzo and Thiago. What would you do? Just switch Evan Nielsen to someone else like Calvert-Lewin, or move Rice to like Sharda, Szoboszlai, someone like that. Rice to Szoboszlai, Tavernier, Dewsbury Hall, and Jai. If you've got loads of transfers, you could take a 1-week punt on Dewsbury Hall or Jai. If you don't, I would just get Tavernier. Is Semenyo captain a great choice? I think he's pretty good. I don't prefer him to. I mean, look. Again, I might captain Bruno just because Haaland's a doubt. So you could captain Semenyo for the same reasons. But I prefer Bruno to Semenyo. Oh, God, I've just realised how high Semenyo's ownership's going to be this week. I bet he's got loads of transfers in as well. Could be a fun week. People start captaining this guy as well. Have a look. Semenyo's got the most transfers in. Wow. I'm going to keep taking that ownership on. Start Hall, Zubamendi, or Wilson. I'd probably just start Wilson and hope, I think. Salah, Raul Jimenez, or Njai Ekitike for good fixtures this week and get Haaland for West Ham, or just go with Salah, Raul Jimenez for 2 weeks. If you're going to get rid of Haaland for Salah, I think you just got to go through with it for the next couple of weeks. So I would rather go for Salah and Raul. I'd probably go Salah and Calvert-Lewin, but yeah, I'd go that option, I think. Myron Tings, 31 months. Would you start Enzo, Anderson, or Rice? I'd probably risk Rice, I think. Anderson would be my last choice. Rice to Szoboszlai or Dorgu to Senesi, bench cover or roll. Probably roll. 7.7 million to spend on a midfielder to keep till game week 35. Who? Probably a Bournemouth midfielder or Szoboszlai. They've both got pretty good fixtures all the way through. Szoboszlai is more likely to double in 33. So if you've used your wildcard already, maybe Szoboszlai is the safe pick. Play 2, Rogers, Senesi, Chow, Tavernier, and Rogers. Bench Rogers, Enzo, or Wilson. Probably Wilson. What week do you recommend wildcarding? Probably 32 right now, but it could change. Would you prioritize selling Enzo, Rice, or Rogers? I would prioritize selling Rice. He's flagged and he blanks in 31. I've got 2 free transfers and 0.5 in the bank. My team has Wilson, Rice, and Haaland with Hill and Anderson on the bench. I mean, those two are good options on the bench. I think you can roll. You're in the same position as me. Right now, I'm probably going to roll. I'm not guaranteeing it. I might change my mind before the end of the stream. It happens. But I think you can probably roll. If not, I would do Rice as my priority out of those 3 out. Start O'Reilly or Alderete feels like a coin toss. I think I'd probably just play it safe with Alderete. Oh, do you know what? I mean, O'Reilly's like Haaland, right? He could be on the bench. And if he is, he probably comes on. But if O'Reilly starts, he's much better than Alderete, isn't he? I just don't... I mean, they don't need to risk Haaland either, really. I'm just not convinced they risk O'Reilly in this fixture. I say Alderete for safety. Minutes. We'll go for the minutes. Start O'Reilly, Anderson, or Hill. Anderson, I think. Hold Verts and do Achimpong to Anderson or Verts to Szoboszlai. Do you know what? I mean, I quite like getting Anderson because he's good for 31 and Verts is going to be pretty good for 30. Yeah, I'd probably go the defender move. Rice and Gio out for CL Calvert-Lewin, I guess, and Tavernier on wildcard 32. Sounds pretty good. Yeah. Start Keane or sell for Anderson. I would probably sell Keane. David Moyes did say something along the lines of there's some players that like have got, I don't know, something like there's a few issues, but he doesn't want to reveal them. I mean, it is a quick turnaround. Maybe Branthwaite gets benched for Keane, but there's some risk there, right? I'll tell you what, right? If you've got a good bench option that can come on for Keane, I'd keep Keane and risk him because it's Burnley at home. If you don't, I would sell him for safety. Start 3 and bench one of Rice, Dango, Rayan, Watkins. I'd probably bench Rice. 1 free transfer, Rice, Ashada, or Tavernier. I think Tavernier is better because of penalties, but because of the quick turnaround, I think Tavernier is going to start though. And he's got Burnley next week. Do you know what? I'm kind of thinking about my own team. I keep saying that I might do Anderson to Shada, but maybe I should be doing Anderson to Tavernier. Tavernier is probably the better pick. Start one of Munoz or Wilson. Probably... Probably one of them. Oh, God, I don't know. I don't know. And I'm a bit like... I'm a bit worried about answering questions right now because I just might change my mind later. I personally don't think Wilson starts. I don't think like I'm seriously if I roll, I'm tempted to do this. Why? Yeah, I'm tempted to do this. In which case, I would be playing Munoz ahead of Wilson. So right now, I've got to say Munoz ahead of Wilson. I think. Hear me out for a -4. Already don't like it. In Burmo to Salah captain and cash somebody 4.3 or cheaper. Have Bruno already been going against Haaland the last few weeks? Yeah, I probably just wouldn't do a -4 like that, but sure, if you want to captain Salah, go for it. 4.3 or below, I'd probably go Goodmanson, I think, or Hill. Play Hill on the Metcha. Is Calafiori a sell? Calafiori, did he play last? No, it was in Capier again, wasn't it? The problem is right now, I don't know. Hang on, let me just. Calafiori, he's just not starting at the moment. I think he's just lost. He might have just lost his place. He's not injured. I did see FPL Tommy Gunn, who's usually pretty good for predictions. Oh wait, no, have I got the wrong guy? Hang on. Yeah, FPL Tommy Gunn. He's got Calafiori starting this time. Oh, God, I really. Calafiori is. Oh, God. See, if he starts, he's probably okay. But the problem is, you don't know for sure if he's going to start. And he definitely blanks in 31. His minutes have been a bit all over the place. He probably is more of a sell than not. Hill or Nemecha. Is Nemecha likely to start? I need to check what his minutes have been like recently. I don't think. I think you go Hill for safety of minutes, to be honest. I don't think Nemecha has been starting. Yeah, he hasn't. Unless that's going to change, it's something I don't know. I would go Hill. Calafiori is probably a sell. Sanchez or Darlow. Villa away. I'd play Darlow. Would you sell Rodgers for a hit? No. Haaland and Rice out for Ekitike and Salah. I mean, that is the move I'd probably be doing right now if Haaland was definitely out. But unless I think it's still a reasonable move, but there is obviously more of a chance now that Haaland plays based on what Pep said. I think Ekitike will play given 3 days rest. Yes, but I think he'll get subbed earlier. Like, he's not going to play 90 minutes. Captain Van Dijk or Bruno. Bruno, start the Bravka or Sanchez. Probably just Sanchez. Dangle or in Burma. A message to all members of the ZBCFC Mini League. The massive legends send their regards. You're all sheep. I am the king. Mundungus lives. Okay, there you go. Bench Rodgers or Tavernier. Rodgers. 1 free transfer, no wild card. And Rice, Haaland, Wilson in my team. And Senesi, Alderete and Krupi on the bench. Slow roll. Yeah, I think so. Because there is a chance like two or three of them start. You've got a good bench and you've got no wild card. So you want to start building up a bit of flexibility with transfers. What do I think about bringing in Frimpong? I just wouldn't bother. The minutes are not good enough in my opinion. He seems a bit injury prone as well. I just don't. It's just not the time to be making moves like that, in my opinion. Who is the best defender to buy for the next 3 weeks? I have Gabriel, Hill, Van Dijk, and Chalobah. Need to sell Mukiele. Have 5.6. Shame we've got Van Dijk, because that would have been such an. Oh, he's not 5.6 though. I would probably. Trying to think of. See, Hill has got Man United in 31. I think it's Anderson. I think you risk Anderson. Are we sleeping on Sheshko? Not really, because his minutes are just not secure enough. Is Kanate a good pick? He's fine if you can't afford Van Dijk. I think I prefer Joachim Anderson, though. Bench 1, Rice, Wilson, or Tavernier. Probably Wilson. Bench 2, Wilson, Anderson, Rodgers, Timber, Goodmanson. Wilson and Anderson. I got to be honest, I'm coming around to the idea that Wilson's just not going to start. That's my gut feeling on it. So I think any benching decision. I'm not saying you can't play Wilson, right? You can absolutely go with a strategy that he'll either start or not be in the squad, but there is a chance of a cameo. For that, I don't know. I don't know. Doing my head in. I just think if you've got a good option, you should probably just play them over Wilson. So the safe one for you is Rodgers, Timber, Goodmanson, I think. Rodgers to Semenyo plus Enzo to Dango for a -4 or sell Rice. I would sell Rice before Rodgers. I wouldn't take a -4 either. And I personally would go Dango over Semenyo. Although Semenyo is great if City lose to Newcastle in the FA Cup. I sold Haaland to Ekitike, then Salah or Semenyo. Salah for me. Enzo to Szoboszlai, bench Krupi, 1 free transfer. Probably not. I think I'd rather just roll. Got 3 flagged. Haaland, Anderson, Rice. Welcome to the club. 1 free transfer. Wanted to do Rice to Wilson, but he's also flagged. Where should I use the transfer to minimise the flag risk? Anderson's fine, by the way. He's not flagged anymore. So he should start. I would do Rice to like Sharda or something like that, or Szoboszlai, or Tavernier. Tavernier's good too. Bench Wilson for Dango or Krupi. Dango. Tempted to make the switch from Haaland Rice to Ekitike Salah. Slightly hesitant due to game week 31 fixture being put back in. How likely is that? So it depends who you talk to, right? The fixture gurus who are much better at this stuff than me, I think they're kind of split. So some of them are very convinced that if Man City lose to Newcastle in the FA Cup, that the Man City Palace game will go back into 31. Some of them don't agree. It doesn't, as far as I know, and I always hate talking about this stuff because I'm nowhere near as good on it as they are. If City lose to Newcastle in the FA Cup, that creates a space where City and Palace could go in to game week 31. But surely that also means there's other free other 3 weeks later on, because both of them are out of the FA Cup. So it's not a guarantee. So first of all, it needs Newcastle to beat City in the FA Cup. Then it needs the Premier League to put it in game week 31. So there is a pretty good chance if they lose to Newcastle. Although right now, even though it's away from home, would anyone massively bet on Newcastle beating City? But City could rotate. Newcastle almost certainly won't. Hard to know. Hard to know. By the way, if it was impossible for that fixture to go back into 31, which it's not, but if it was, I'd be quite tempted to just do the move anyway this week, even on current info. I think that's kind of what's putting me off, though. If it goes back into 31, just keeping Haaland's the obvious move. Captain and Jai, just stick with Bruno or Haaland. I prefer Bruno, I think, or Haaland, but yeah. Njai's fine. It's Burnley. He's on penalties. I don't hate it, but I probably wouldn't go there myself. Problem with Haaland captain is if he plays the last 10 minutes. Exactly. That's the risk you got to weigh up, basically. Are you willing to take that risk? Like, my current thinking right now is I'm not convinced. I don't know. I was going to say I'm not convinced Haaland's worth the extra risk. But he is, right? Because if he plays, he's great. Look, all I can say is there's a risk Haaland doesn't start. And if you're not willing to take that risk, you should captain someone else. That's why I'm quite tempted just to captain Bruno again. I just wish it was a better fixture than Newcastle away. It's just not a fantastic fixture. It's just not that great of a pick. Kind of why I'm just so split on it. But it is the safer move for sure. Am I definitely not starting Harry Wilson? No, look, nothing's definite until the deadline, to be honest. And by the way, I've just realised I've not even clicked save team, which is the same mistake I made last week. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. So what's the chance? What's the chance of a cameo for Wilson? If you're chasing hard, does selling Haaland make more sense? Probably a little bit, yeah. Probably a little bit more. Would I captain Ekitike if I had him? Not over Bruno, I don't think. Would you sell Haaland and King to Semenyo and Calvert-Lewin for a -4? No, I don't think so. I'd rather maybe sell. I have Wilson, Anderson, Mukiele injured, so if 2 of them don't start, I won't have 11. Yeah, but I still wouldn't take a -4, I don't think. I would maybe just sell one of those other players. Rice to Tavernier instead of a Brentford midfielder. Yeah, absolutely reasonable. Penalty takers, always good. João Pedro to Ekitike or Calvert-Lewin or just roll. I think João Pedro to Ekitike is a bit of a luxury, but if you can spare it, I prefer Ekitike. Rice, Richards, and Van Heck to Van Dijk, Anderson, and Tavernier to bench boost. I don't think I'd be making 3 transfers to bench boost in a midweek game week, despite the fact you're bringing in 3 pretty good players. Rice and Evan Nielsen to Shada and Ekitike for a -4. Rice and Evan Nielsen to Shada and Ekitike for a -4 or no hit. Oh, probably no hit for me. Just Evan Nielsen to Ekitike if you can. Would you do Rice to Semenyo? Probably not for me. I want Lacro to Pin. Wait, I've realised Lacro is Lacroix. Who's Pin? Who's Pinn? I'm going to need some help on that one. Who's Pinn? Defender. Lacroix to Pinn. You've kind of... I don't know. Haaland to Calvert-Lewin, Anderson to Semenyo, Rice to Mo Salah for -4. I probably wouldn't take the -4. I don't know who Pin is. Defender. Like, Pinnock is the only one I can think of, but he obviously doesn't play. Yeah, but surely it's not Pinnock, right? He doesn't play, does he? I mean, Pinnock, yeah. He just doesn't play. I don't think it's Pino. Maybe I'm missing something. I wouldn't be taking a -4 that includes buying a player that doesn't play, to be honest. Unless I'm missing something. Would you start Creepy over Harry Wilson? Probably. Munoz or either Hill or Senesi. Munoz, want to do Rice to Burma, but I need 0.1. Should I sell Timber to Van Dijk to free up the cash and lose the double Arsenal defense to wildcard 32? Yeah, I quite like that move, yeah. Again, Timber's fine to keep, but that's a pretty reasonable move. Would you rather Sarr to Dango / Iwobi Dango or Guiu to Calvert-Lewin? That's a really interesting question. Is Calvert-Lewin better? Calvert-Lewin's definitely better than Iwobi for me, by the way. Is he better than Dango? I mean, when it comes to fixture-wise, Leeds are pretty good, and he's on penalties. I think you can make a case that Calvert-Lewin's good. I think I can afford that as well, by the way. I think I could do Guiu to Calvert-Lewin. I just don't know if I want to. Yeah, I would take Calvert-Lewin over Dango if nothing else matters. 2 free transfers, Rice and Rodgers to Bruno and Dango. Yes, because you're buying Bruno. Start 1-2 all of Munoz, Harry Wilson stack. Right now I'm starting Rice, Haaland, Munoz and have Harry Wilson first bench, stack second. Yeah, that seems fine to me. I mean, you could make an argument to put stack ahead of Wilson just for security of minutes if you wanted to. 0 free transfers. Haaland, right? Sorry, Wilson. Oh God, where am I? I would stop. I almost be tempted to say stop putting super chats in right now. I'm struggling already to get to everything, including like normal, including like regular chat as well. This stream is absolutely fine. There's already 12,000 people watching with an hour to go. That is madness, to be honest. You can tell what kind of week it is. What the hell am I? Oh God, I've got to start thinking of my own. This is the problem. Like, obviously, I need to concentrate on the questions as part of the stream. But then I always just, I haven't even thought about my team that much today. I've been playing games instead. Been trying to get to level 90, you know. 0 free transfers. Wilson, Haaland, and Rice flagged in my 11. Only Hill on the bench as the other two are Guiu and Mukiele. -4 to sell Guiu to Calvert-Lewin and bench Rice or Wilson. I think you've got a pretty good chance of getting minutes from 2 of those 3, and then you've got Hill on the bench, so I would not take a -4. Play Munoz or Rayan over Wilson. Rayan, I think. Rice or Rodgers out to fund Ekatike. Rice. If you've got enough for 31 and you've got the luxury, why not? Would you captain vice captain Semenyo if you had him? I don't think I would, but a lot of people are doing it, and I think it's a perfectly reasonable call. Are Shada and Dango risks? Rumours about rotation. I've not seen those rumours. Like, it is a midweek turnaround, so I guess they might be more susceptible to minutes reduction than normal, but I would expect them to start. Got the usual 3 flags and only Lefay on the bench. Would you transfer Nathan Collins to Joachim Andersen and play him over Wilson, or just roll to 4? Oh, you got 4 transfers. So, presumably, yeah, Joachim Andersen, that is. So, look, Joachim Andersen is not 100% certain to start, but I'm pretty sure he's going to because he's back in the squad. And if he's fit, he plays. So, you've got 4 free transfers and you're buying a player that's good for 31. And I'm more confident that Andersen starts than Wilson. So, because of your transfer, like, status... or position, probably a better word, I would do that. If you don't have Ekatike, would you go Haaland to him? No, don't think so. Unless you're like sure that Haaland's not going to start, or that you just don't want to take the risk of a cameo. Or would you do Rodgers and Krupi to Anderson and Ekatike for a hit? I wouldn't take the hit, no. Like, Ekatike's good. I don't think he's good. I don't hate Haaland to Ekatike, but preferably that's to fund another move, I think. Got Wilson, Rice, Haaland, and Evan Nielsen. Got Wilson, Rice, Haaland, Evan Silver. 0 free transfers. Got Chow, Enzo, Richards. Can start or bench. Who would you risk? So I'd probably start Haaland, Rice, Enzo. And then maybe just take a chance on Wilson because the other defenders are not amazing. I'm not convinced Evan Nielsen's going to start this game, but we don't really know based on the press conference. I've got Rice, Sarr, Richards, Timber, Haaland. Should I -4 and move Rice to Szoboszlai this game week or roll? Wilson, Haaland, and Rice to start. No, I don't think a -4 is worth it. Sarr's fine. Richards okay if you have to play him. Start Konza, Hill, or Vandenberg. Definitely not Konza. Just trying to think what fixture he had. Bruno or Semenyo captain Bruno. I would probably start Hill. Would you buy Raul or Calvert-Lewin? Calvert-Lewin because of the minutes. Would you do Mane to Ekitike and Palmer to Njai and then bench Dango? Cover if Wilson not playing. Probably not. Because Palmer's okay this week. You're using 2 transfers to basically... Yeah, I don't get it, to be honest. Yeah, you're using 2 transfers to gain one player, but then you're benching Dango. Like, again, these things are always difficult to justify in text. I almost need to see the team in a picture, which we can't do. There's not enough time to be doing that on this stream. But I don't think that makes sense to me. Have Rice, Wilson, Haaland, 1 free transfer, Senesi and Goodmanson on the bench. I mean, you're pretty good. Should I buy Calvert-Lewin to cover Wilson or start Wilson or use the bench? Yeah, so you can do, like, I wouldn't use a transfer in your case. If you want to play it safe, then you start Senesi. I'm still quite undecided about what to do. I think the safest call is just to start Senesi rather than Wilson. Like, is it just start or out of the squad? I don't think it is that. The thing that's playing on my mind is Fulham have got who is it now? Let me just I can't find the. Yeah, they've got Oscar Bob. I couldn't remember the name. So he can play. Chuck Wasey is fit as well. Like, they don't have to. They don't have to risk Harry Wilson necessarily. Like, Wilson's obviously good, and when he's fit, he always starts. But is he so good that they need to risk it? But he could be benched. I just don't think they need to, like, push Wilson to be in the 11. And that's why I think there's a cameo chance. Oh, it's so tough. I can't remember what the question was now. Oh, yeah. So basically, you could start Senesi over Wilson if you want to. Calvert-Lewin and Salah for Haaland and Rice for -4. I'm chasing 45 points. I wouldn't take a -4 for it. Opinion on Szoboszlai. Rice is Szoboszlai worth it? Szoboszlai's a good pick. Solid 90 minutes. Takes a lot of set pieces. If you don't want to take the risk on Rice, I like it. Rice is Szoboszlai probably locks me out of Verts. No wild card. I don't think that's the end of the world. But if you're concerned about it, just buy someone that's not Szoboszlai. Starting Thiago, bench Hill, and play Rodgers. Yes. I have Haaland and Bruno, but also Dewsbury Hill. Is it crazy to captain Dewsbury Hill? It's not crazy. I prefer Bruno, though. Bench 2, Enzo, Wilson, Senesi, Krupi, Rodgers, Stack, Joachim. Bench 2. Again, for safety, it's probably Wilson and... I mean, the other one will be between Senesi, Krupi, and Stack. I think Krupi starts, so I'm going to say Stack, even though I think he's pretty good this week, in all honesty. 4 free transfers, Ekitike, Dango, Hill, and Van Dijk for Pedro, João Pedro, Trossard, Senesi, and Timber. I wouldn't do Senesi to Hill unless you are absolutely desperate for the money. If you have to do it to get Ekitike, I guess it's okay. But I just think at this stage of the season, with a blank game week coming up, you know, more blanks and doubles later on, to use a transfer to do Senesi and Hill is such a luxury. Would you start Calvert-Lewin or Rodgers? Calvert-Lewin. Name 3 differential captains this week for ranked push. I mean, Semenyu's obviously highly owned, but he's not going to be massively captain. I don't think. Maybe he will be. I mean, I don't know if Ekitike and Semenyo count as. I mean, to me, they're differential captains because I'm not considering them. But ownership-wise, they're probably going to be quite high. If we knew Haaland was out, I'd say Marmouche. Thiago, maybe? I mean, that's such a lame... No, that's a terrible... I don't know. I feel like everyone's a bit of a differential this week. I need to look at the other fixtures. Njai? But, like, target someone for Burnley at home. Njai or Tarkovsky? I mean, that's a proper differential captains. Calvert-Lewin against Sunderland at home. Like, it depends whether you class Semenyo and Ekitike as differentials. I think they kind of are, captaincy-wise, but their ownership is already quite high. So yeah, if you don't want those kind of picks, then I guess like Calvert-Lewin or Njai, someone like that. Gordon against Man United at home, but I don't think I'll be risking that. Late to join Ekatike or Bruno, Captain Bruno. Congrats on the rank. Thank you. What do you think about Rice to Gakpo? Is Liverpool going to have a double game? They've got a good chance in 33, but it's nowhere near confirmed yet. I wouldn't buy Gakpo. I just worry about his minutes once Wirtz is back. Start 3, Rodgers, Enzo, Rice, Chow, Hill, Alderete. Again, you've probably got to start... Yeah, you'd have to start one of those defenders. So I would say Rodgers, Enzo, and Hill. Bench 2 of Alderete, Krupi Jr., Senesi, Enzo, Rice. I would bench Alderete and probably Senesi. Enzo to Iwobi, I wouldn't do that. Szoboszlai or Roll. Start Rodgers and Munoz. Rodgers and Roll, I think. Sarr, Munoz, Enzo. Who starts and bench order? Sarr, Enzo, Munoz. That is the order. Krupi Jr. versus Kelleher or Dubravka or bench for Rodgers. Yeah, I would start Kelleher if you've got him, I think. And probably Krupi. 1 free transfer flags. Harry HAA. Who's that? Harry Wilson, presumably? No, because that's Wilson. Haaland, Wilson, Rice, Wirtz, Tuanzebe, Rice to Iwobi. I'm not convinced by Iwobi. I'd prefer to buy Tavernier, Szoboszlai, Sharda, Dango over him. But yes, Rice out looks good. I need a better system for tracking all these messages. There is, I haven't had a stream this busy for quite a while. Rice or Sarr out? I think Rice. I don't know if I can go through with benching Wilson, because if he starts, that's going to just kill me straight away. But I think it is the safer play, to be honest. Gyökeres to Ekatike. That sounds pretty good to me. Yeah. Sell Palmer and Guillou and buy Ekatike and Wilson. I don't think you can buy Wilson when he's yellow flagged. There's a genuine chance he doesn't start. Start Krupi or Riss Wilson. I'd probably go Krupi. Royce. By the way, there were some rumours that Royce for Sunderland is injured. The person that I saw people... so it was on a tweet that I saw other people sharing from someone that I don't follow. But when I tried to click on it, they deleted it. So I don't know if Royce is... there was nothing in the press conference. I don't know how much truth there is. So I don't want to like scaremonger Royce owners, but I'm just saying there was a rumor going around. But the tweet got deleted. So yeah, Harry shared a tweet from someone who I don't think I follow. And it's since been deleted. So I don't know if there's any kind of truth in that, to be honest. Sorry, anyway, to get back to your question, Royce, Gabriel, Senesi, Diddly-Loo, 4 free transfers, who starts? Well, so with these questions, right, there's no point in sending the hot... Well, actually, maybe there is in this case. You got Haaland. You're not thinking about benching Ekatike, right? So who are you actually not sure about starting, I would say? Wait, what do you mean who start? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. So Chalobah, I would start Krupi over Chalobah. And then the other player I would bench is... Wilson, I guess. Transfers, you tell me who you're thinking about transferring out of those, your whole team. But I actually think it looks quite good, to be honest. Thoughts, Rice to Dewsbury Hall and Manny to Ekatike for a -4. I wouldn't -4 it, no. Dewsbury Hall's like 1 week only as well, really. Guillou and Rice to Ekatike and Tavernier, but bench one of Wilson, Dango and Burma, or just Rice and Dango. Probably just Rice. If that's for free, I quite like it, and just bench Wilson. Otherwise, yeah, Rice and Dango is fine. I saw that Haaland was with Shrek in a selfie. Is this considered a leak? I mean, I did see someone, maybe it was Harry again, saying like, if Haaland was actually injured, would he be posting stuff like that? I need to mute this. Yeah, would he be posting that? I don't know if that really really matters. Like Haaland just seems like that kind of guy, you know. I don't know if we can consider that a leak, to be honest. Is Semenyo, but maybe it's better that he's posting that instead of not posting it. I don't know. Is a Semenyo to Enzo worth it? No. If you've got Semenyo, keep him, right? One free transfer, got Gay and Haaland will free hit in 31 or save. Yeah, I'd probably, if you're free hitting 31, I would definitely not do that move. Rice to Mberma or Manny to Calvert-Lewin already have Bruno. Manny to Calvert-Lewin I quite like, to be honest. Bench one for Calvert-Lewin, Haaland, Sarr, Wilson, Rogers. Again, probably Wilson just for safety and minutes. Taking the Salah punt captain. If I had him, I'm pretty sure I would captain him over Bruno and Ekatike just for the penalties, really. Bench Dango, Dewsbury Hall, or Iwobi. Ooh, I don't think Iwobi for me, I think. Did you see Captain's quote on Rice? He's better today. Yeah, I think Rice is going to start for what it's worth, but there obviously is some risk there. Got Haaland, Nico O'Reilly, I guess that is. Wilson on the bench, Timber, Enzo, Dorgu. Whom to sell is not all three bench options are playable. I mean, Timber and Enzo are absolutely playable, so you could play both of them over O'Reilly and Wilson, I would say. Captain Palmer, Ekatike, or Bruno. Probably Bruno out of those for me, although I don't hate Palmer as a differential. If you want to go different, Palmer will be quite nice this week, I think. Thoughts on Rice to Gakpo, 3 free transfers, but already used wildcard. I wouldn't buy Gakpo. I think if you use your wildcard, I think you want to go a bit safer for minutes. I know Gakpo's starting a lot at the moment. When everyone's fully fit, there has to be a bit of minutes reduction, I would say. Risk starting Keane or just play Hill. Keane's probably... Oh, no, actually, do you know what? Is Keane a definite 90 or 0? Yeah, so in game week 26, he did play 1 minute. Oh, he actually played 1 minute in game week 28 as well. So that's a really tricky one, because if he doesn't start, he could come on. But it is Burnley. I'd be tempted to risk it because it's midweek, and maybe they give Branthwaite a game off. But it is a risk, because he could come off the bench. Should I start Madueke or Munoz, Chow, Larson? I would probably start Strand Larson over Madueke. Again, FPL Tommy Gunn, who does a lot of predictions for Arsenal, does reckon there's a chance Madueke starts, but I'm not convinced, personally. Now, I'm not an Arsenal fan, and I'm a bit of an idiot, but yeah, he's thinking... So I tweeted him about it, and he replied to say Madueke's just not played like any minutes recently. He said, Madueke has played 1 single minute over our last 2 league games. I'm probably overthinking things, but Arteta hinted at rotation will probably happen against Mansfield. So he does go on to say afterwards, he probably Saka will play, but there is a chance at Madueke. But I think I'd just start Strand Larson. Do I need to get rid of Verts? Well, he's not going to start this week. Probably. Have Wilson, Anderson, Dewsbury Hall, Fernandez on the bench currently, Anderson, Richards, and Dorgu. Yeah, so basically, are you like... Do you really want Verts so much from next week you're willing to play Anderson? Like, just assume Anderson's going to play, because I don't think Verts is going to play any part. You got 2 free transfers. I'd be tempted to sell Verts rather than have Anderson or Richards or Dorgu. Do you start Senesi if you had 2 Brentford attack? It depends. Depends, right? Who are you benching instead if you start Senesi? I wouldn't be completely against it, because obviously you can still get defensive contributions, potential attacking threat. First sub, Hill or Dango. Dango, can you a good Man United differential or replace with Bruno? I think if you haven't got Bruno, you should probably buy him. Bench 1, João Pedro, Dango, O'Reilly or Anderson, Fulham. O'Reilly. Best replacement for Zubimendi or still start him? I'd probably get rid if you got a spare transfer. It depends how much money you've got. But someone like Tavernier, Sharda, Dango, someone in that kind of price bracket. Rice and Robbie to Tavernier and Ekatike -4. If you've got no bench, yes. If you've got someone decent, I wouldn't bother with a hit. Erling and Rogers for Hugo and Salah with 2 free transfers chasing rank. Don't hate it if you're willing to take the punt on not having Haaland, but there is a chance he just starts. Haaland and Rogers for Ekatike and Salah. Just did that one. Which one to play? Elliot Anderson, Hill, Alderete, Rogers. Rogers, Mohamed, 35 months. If no more leaks, would you bench Rice, Haaland or Dewsbury Hall? Rice. 1 free transfer, Roll or Enzo to Szoboszlai. I'd play Enzo. Only Gay available on the bench. Have Haaland, Wilson, Evan Nilsson, Rice. Should I do Haaland to Thiago and Rice to Salah from -4? I want a wildcard 32. I mean, yeah, I would maybe take a hit in your case. Would I do it for Haaland? I'm not so sure. But if you want to take the punt on Salah, I don't mind it. You missed my first chat. I'm keeping this longer. Bench 1, João Pedro, Dango. Apologies for missing, by the way. Bench 1, João Pedro, Dango, O'Reilly or Anderson. No, I just did it, right? Oh, no, wait. That was someone else. Oh, I did do that one, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I would bench O'Reilly, I think. Please, who the captain, Semenyo or Ekitike? Ooh, I'm going to go for Semenyo. Midfielder at home. Neither have got penalties. Yeah, Semenyo just about. Gio and Rice. Yeah, just about. Gio and Rice, Tavernier and Thiago, prep for 31. Sounds good. If Haaland does not start, do you think he comes on for a sub appearance? Could I do something like that, by the way? Gio to Ekitike, I don't think I can. If Haaland does not start, do you think he comes on for a sub appearance? I think if he's bench, he gets minutes, yeah. Now, obviously, he could just not be in the squad like last time, but I suspect if he's on the bench, he would come on. Gio to Calvert-Lewin, then bench boost to Bravka, Goodmanson, Chalobah, and Calvert-Lewin. I don't think it's worth it in a midweek. Chalobah away to Villa, probably wouldn't do it. If you've got Haaland, he's not guaranteed to get minutes. I wouldn't bench boost. It seems way too risky this week. Play Hill or Chow. Hill, and is it worth considering transferring out Enzo? Enzo out is a luxury move. I think it's okay to do if you've got the spare transfers, but you can absolutely just start him. For what it's worth, I kind of wish I'd kept Enzo over Anderson. And if I did, I'm pretty sure I'd just be playing Enzo over Wilson and rolling. So I actually don't mind Enzo. Bench 3, Rayan, Wilson, Hill, O'Reilly, Anderson. O'Reilly and Wilson probably for safety. Njai, Dango, or Rayan, pick 2. For this week, Njai and Dango. Bench 1, Rogers, Dango, Wilson, or Dewsbury Hall. Again, that one's got to be Wilson. Have Sabosline, Hugo, Ekitike, Timber to Van Dijk, or Hold. The only reason not to do that is if you think you're going to want Salah anytime soon, basically. Now, look, what if Haaland plays against Forest and then gets injured and misses out West Ham and City don't play in 31? You might want the option to go Salah. That's the only thing to consider. If your reply to that is I am never buying Salah, then go for Van Dijk. Rice and Haaland flagged. Benches Dango, Hill, Krupi, great bench. Roll. I'd probably roll. Jack, 4 months, manifesting another Andy Green arrow to get into the top 500. I'm not expecting a Green arrow this week. And I know I always say that, but I would probably take a small red arrow that lets me stay in the top 1K this week if you offered it to me right now. God, I've just realised captaincy as well. I'm looking at my team, realising it's still Bruno captain. Like, Haaland's going to start, isn't he? He just is going to start. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, so Green Arrow, I'm not expecting one. Njai or Semenyo captain. Do you know what? I'm going to take the penalties in the Burnley fixture there. Ekitike in, Gyökeres out, or keep Gyökeres as differential. Ekitike in, I think. 1.1 in the bank, 4 free transfers. Selling Mukiele for Van Dijk. Want to sell Enzo. I've got Elf, Rice in Burma and Bruno. Should I sell 2 to bring Semenyo in and downgrade another? I wouldn't be using 2 transfers to get Semenyo, personally. Not when he blanks in 31 as it stands. Play 2 from Rogers, Sarr, João Pedro. I'd probably bench Rogers. Bench Chalobah for Rogers. Nope, not for me. Please help pick one option. 1, Haaland captain. 2, Ekitike vice captain. Haaland captain, Bruno vice. Ekitike captain, Bruno captain. It's Haaland or Bruno, I think, for me. If you think he starts, Haaland's the best. If you don't want to take a risk, it's Bruno. I can't say any more than that. Right now, I'm on the don't take the risk option. There's still 44 minutes to go. I tend to kind of zone out of thinking about my own team too much. So when it comes down to it, I might switch. But the safe pick is Bruno, I think. Buy Anderson or Konate for the next 3 weeks. Anderson, Gear and Rogers to Ekitike and Dewsbury Hall from -4. Probably not. Start Hill or Chalobah. Hill. Sell Palmer and Mane for Ekitike and Dewsbury Hall from -4. If not, then what do you suggest? Just play Palmer, probably. And keep the 4 points. 5 flags, thinking Dango and Ekitike for a hit. Sure, if you've got no bench and stuff, why not? I've got Wilson, Haaland, O'Reilly, Lacroix, Rodon, and Rice. Rodon should be okay. Rice probably starts. 2 million in the bank, 1 free transfer. Who would you sell? Will Wilson and O'Reilly start? O'Reilly and Wilson, I'm really not sure about. Lacroix plays against Leeds next week, so I'd probably keep. Rodon's fine. I'd probably lean towards selling O'Reilly first because he blanks in 31. And then if you need to sell someone else, probably Rice or Lacroix because they also blank. But Rice and Lacroix are both okay next week. Start 2, Hill, Dango, Lafay, Munoz. Munoz and Dango. Start 2 of Rice, Goodmanson, Anderson, Munoz, Wilson. 2. Rice and Anderson, I think. Got a pretty good team. Haaland and Rice in the 11, with Chalobah, Mukiele, Barnes on the bench and 1 free transfer. Upgrade bench or Enzo out to Dango, Tavernier. Roll, probably. If you could do like Mukiele to Yoki Anderson, that would also be quite good. I don't know. It feels quite luxury to do Enzo to Dango, to be honest, with 1 free transfer in that bench. Bench Dango or Tavernier. Dango if you have to. Start 2, Tavernier, Wilson or Dewsbury Hill. I'd bench Wilson. Bench 2, Krupi, Munoz, Wilson. I'd probably start Krupi just about. Haaland, Enzo, Rice to Ekitike, Salah, Dango. I don't know. Again, if you want to just take Haaland on, I don't mind it if that's for free. I think there's probably a good chance Haaland gets minutes in this game, maybe even starts. Senesi down to Hill and Krupi to Ekitike for a -4. I don't think that's worth a -4. Guiu to Krupi and Rice to whichever 6.9 million midfielder to cover Haaland. Probably Tavernier. Start Wilson or Sarr. Sarr. Royce or Kelleher. What's the latest update on Kelleher? Kelleher should be fine. Should go straight in. I'd probably start Kelleher. Again, there are some rumours that Royce might be out, but I've not seen anything like today, so maybe he's fine. But still Kelleher anyway, I think. Ekitike or Calvert-Lewin captain. Probably Ekitike. Rice to Iwobi or Lefay to Tavernier or roll and play Rice. I think you could roll, and if I was going to do one of those two moves, I guess it has to be Rice, but I do Rice to Tavernier, to be honest. Tavernier is better than Iwobi. Start for Bruggen or Dubravka. Dubravka just about. Okay. I actually got to the end of all the super chats there. Ekitike or Bruno captain. Is there much in it? I prefer to take the penalties, so Bruno for me. Haaland should start or not play. Why would he cameo? I don't know. I don't know what the injury is. I mean, the thing, like, people always say that, like, he'll definitely start or definitely not play, but he could also cameo, right? It could be that he's not quite fit enough to start, but he's okay to be on the bench. Like, that can happen. Is that the most likely thing to happen? Maybe not, but it's a possibility. Play Anderson or Enzo. Enzo, Rodgers and Manny to Tavernier and Ekitike -4. Probably not. It's not very often. He cameoed against Wolves. Yeah, precisely. I do think that was maybe a little bit different, though, because I think that was a rest. Whereas this time, obviously, he's, apparently got a knock. So it's a little bit different. I do agree that Haaland cameo is probably the least likely option, but I'm not sure if it's by that much. Captain Palmer, Njai, Raul Jimenez, or João Pedro. Who for vice captain? I would go Palmer captain, Njai vice, I think. Start 1, Krupi, Rodon, Wilson. Krupi, I think. I'm on Wildcard now. Is it a smart move to transfer out Haaland, get Salah and Ekitike? And in terms of midfield, what are your thoughts on Mbeumo Semenyo? I would go Mbeumo over Semenyo because of no blank in 31. Is it smart to transfer Haaland now? I mean, if he doubles in 33, you'll probably want him, right? But I mean, if you're wildcarding when Haaland's a doubt, surely you take him on, no? And just have a route to go back to him. I don't know if I would call it smart, but I think it's something I'd maybe think about doing. Yeah. When am I going to wildcard? Maybe 32, maybe not. Yeah, there is a lot of questions. Like, this is by far the busiest deadline stream for a while. Like, we're nearly hitting 15,000 people watching. Like, usually I never get to 15k anymore. Especially with 40 minutes till the deadline. It's just one of those weeks because there's so many issues. But yeah, do hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. I've got Haaland, Wirtz, Rodon, and Wilson yellow flagged. Rodon should be okay, by the way. 2 free transfers, 0.6. Who should I sell? I'd probably concentrate. Wirtz probably for me. I'd want to keep Wilson. And then Haaland if you want to take a punt. But I'd probably say Wirtz and leave the rest. Play Sanchez or Kelleher. Bournemouth away, Villa away. Kelleher just about. No, you probably, I don't know. If you've got Thiago or no, sorry. If you've got a Bournemouth attacker, I'm going to say Sanchez. If not, I'd play Kelleher, I think. There's not really much in it. In fact, I don't know what the clean sheet odds. Sanchez. Sanchez is 24%. Kelleher, he must be a little bit higher. He's lower. All right, we'll go Sanchez. I don't think there's really too much in it, so I'm just going to take the clean sheet odds. If you've got an attacker from either side, then I go for the other one because it's pretty close. João Pedro and Rice to Dewsbury Hall and Ekitike for a hit. No, I don't think so. Should I bring in Kanate or Iwobi this week? Depends who you're selling. I guess I'd probably rather Iwobi just about. My voice is going, so that is not good. Not good at all. Not with 40 minutes to go. Gyökeres captain. He's been playing 70. Yeah, 70 is not enough for captaincy for me. Brighton away, like I just no, don't think so. Timber to Van Dijk will roll. No other Liverpool asset. I think that's very rollable, especially if you've got one free transfer. Haaland out for Ekitike if I'm wildcard 32. So again, I would definitely do that move if we knew Haaland was out this week, or if I thought there was. I mean, even without knowing if Haaland's out, it is quite tempting. But I mean, sure, if you want to do it, because Haaland will. But there is a chance Haaland just starts this week, and there is a chance Haaland plays in 31 if the fixture goes back there. So it's up to you whether you want to take the risk. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. It's just there is some risk there. It's whether you're willing to take it. I mean, as I answer that question, there is part of me just thinks do it. Hope you thought Anderson Fulham last SC and Calvert-Lewin captain. Is that just a way of saying I missed a super chat? If so, I apologise. There's so many. I don't know how easily I can find ones that I might have missed. Start 2 of Rice, Goodmanson, Anderson, Munoz, Wilson. No, I did that one. Did you ask another one? I don't know. And Calvert-Lewin captain. I mean, not for me, probably. I don't mind him as a differential, but I suspect you've probably got someone else in who's better. Bench 2 a stack, Dango and Timber. Timber's minutes, I think they're probably okay, but you could bench Timber, I think, yeah. Ahead of the instead of those two. Strand Larson to Ekitike, worth it or roll. I'd be tempted to do that if you've got a spare transfer and no other major issues. You'll make 100 grand this stream. Nah, it's usually a set 50k on these streams. About 50 grand, something like that. Have 2 free transfers, 0.4 in the bank. On a midfielder, Bruno, Mbeumo, Rice, Wilson, Dango, with Haaland and Calvert-Lewin and Thiago up front. Who to bench of those 8? Oof. I think the least likely one to start is Wilson, so him. And rolling, I mean, that's a great team. So I'd probably roll, yeah. Bench 1, Wilson, Rice, Enzo, Dango, or Haaland. Probably Wilson. Guiu to Calvert-Lewin to cover Wilson / Haaland. Rodon and Alderete the other subs. I think you've already got pretty good cover, to be honest. 2 free transfers start Rice or Joachim Anderson. I wouldn't sell Rice if you got Joachim Anderson right now, to be honest. I guess for yeah, I'm going to say Joachim Anderson to start. Start Cunha or Rodgers. I mean, Cunha should start again. Might not be the worst game for Man United, you know. I'll say Cunha. Bench 1, Kroopy, Hill, Rodgers. Hill. What's your move? Maybe roll. Maybe Anderson. I think I'm going to roll. Now, again, I'm allowed to change my mind. I'm a human being. I'm allowed to change my mind. But I think, right, if the deadline was in 10 seconds, I think I would just roll. Probably because I wouldn't have time to make a transfer. Let's say the deadline was in a minute. I think I'd probably roll. There is part of me that just wants to do the Haaland to Ekitike move and Rice to Salah. I don't think I don't think I can take the stress though, because Haaland will probably start, and then it'll be like an absolute killer. I just don't think I can do it. Rice to Shada, or roll with Enzo Anderson on the bench. Probably roll. Please bench 2 of these 5. Wilson, Dango. What a polite question. Wilson, Dango, Sarr, Senesi, Anderson. Please bench 2. Wilson and Senesi. Semenyo or Bruno captain Bruno. Would you captain Njai? Probably not, to be honest. But I guess it depends who the other options are. Munoz to Van Dijk with 1 free transfer or roll. I'd be tempted to roll that. Callum member for 50 months. Message incoming. Sorry in advance. Okay. Why didn't you just put it in that? What about Captain Van Dijk versus Wolves? No interest in that whatsoever, to be honest. There's much better captains in attack, I think. Enzo to Dango or Klein to Goodmanson, 1 free transfer or sell Chalobah. Probably just roll. I think that's pretty rollable. If you have to do one, Enzo to Dango, I guess. Rice, Semenyo, Wilson, Fernandez, Cunha, Haaland, Thiago, João Pedro, 1 free transfer roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. Rice. Oh, Haaland and Wilson. Bench, Alderete, Dallo. Roll or get Calvin. No, that's a good bench. I would roll. 4 free transfers, good changes. Richards to Van Dijk. Rice to Semenyo. Timber to someone. 4.6. Best at that price. Team before. I would risk getting Joachim Andersen. I think he'll start. Rice to Semenyo. As long as you can cover game week 31, which I'm not sure. Yeah, you'd have to think about that. Arsenal and City players obviously blanking in 31, and so are Palace players. So I'm not sure I would buy Semenyo because you've got Richards, Gabriel. I guess you'd be selling Rice, but you're just selling one blanker for another. Semenyo is fine if you want to do it. Just make sure you can cover 31 is all I would say. And probably Joachim Andersen. Enzo and Haaland out for Salah and leaving 7.2 for a striker. Already got Sesko and Thiago. I'd probably just roll, but if you want to do it, I would get Calvert-Lewin. Any stock in the fact that Man City play 4 games in the next 11 days, including 3 away games, 2 of which are Newcastle and Madrid. This is the game where Haaland is most likely to be rested. Or, given their chase in the Premier League, does he play this game and get rested in the FA Cup? Surely the Premier League's more important than the FA Cup, right? So why not? He's just had a rest. I mean, he was injured apparently, so I don't know if you can class that as a rest, but he's not played at the weekend. So why not play midweek and then get another rest next weekend? And then start against Madrid? I don't necessarily agree that this is the most likely fixture he gets rested. Now, depending on how bad that injury is, he might just not be able to play, obviously. But yeah, I don't necessarily agree that this is the Newcastle game is more important. First bench, Enzo or Munoz. Probably Enzo, I think. Just about. 58 points shy in mini league, no wildcard, worth a -8. The thing is, he's taking -8 or then 66 points behind. Haaland, Rice, Gyökeres, and Salah. I wouldn't get Gyökeres for a -8. Nowhere near. I probably just wouldn't take a -8. Is Haaland really worth keeping at the moment? 14.5 million for 5 to 11 points since game week 17. I think like you're considering him for Ekitike, but if we'd had this conversation last week, you wouldn't want Ekitike because he's hardly got any points recently, right? The thing with Haaland not being worth the money is it doesn't really matter because there's nowhere else to spend the money. So I would rather have, if Haaland starts this week, I'd rather have him than Ekitike. Captain Semenyo or Ekitike, Semenyo. Haaland, Rice, to Salah, Ekitike, -4 or roll. I would roll, start Enzo or Rhys Wilson. Enzo, I think. Bench 2 of Munoz, Timber, Wilson, Anderson, Dango. Wilson and Munoz probably. Start 1, Senesi, Goodmanson or Chalobah. Senesi. What to do with Haaland and O'Reilly? O'Reilly I'd maybe lean towards selling if you're struggling for players. Haaland I'd probably lean towards keeping just about. But you can sell him if you want, but obviously it's up to you if you want to take that risk. Will you consider buying Sharda or Tavernier? I think just about Tavernier because of penalties, but I really do like both. If I was making a double change and I didn't have money for Salah, that's the 2 I would buy, I think. Who would you bench, Enzo or Rodgers? Enzo. Chalobah or Senesi first sub? Senesi. 1 free transfer, Rice to Szoboszlai / Bournemouth midfielder to bench Wilson, play him and do Watkins to Ekitike or roll and pray. Rice to Szoboszlai, Bournemouth midfielder to bench Wilson, play him and do what? Yeah, I wouldn't do the Watkins to Ekitike. I mean, I kind of prefer the Watkins to Ekitike. And then you could just do Watkins to Ekitike and play Rice. That works. Honestly, if you're on 1 free transfer, though, the roll and pray, not the worst thing. Start Enzo, Elliot, Anderson, or Alderete. Enzo, start Chow, Alderete, or Krupi. Krupi, bench 1. Enzo, Wilson, Sharda. Wilson, start Vandenberg or Hill. Hill, bench boost Dubravka, Calvert-Lewin, Stack, and Rodgers. Only flag is Haaland. I just probably wouldn't risk it midweek. And with a flag. I mean, if they all start, that's a pretty good bench, to be honest. But I don't think I'd risk it. Bench Anderson or Goodmanson. I would play Anderson. Verts to Szoboszlai or Wilson or Sharda. I would go Sharda, I think. You can't buy Wilson this week, in my opinion. Rice, Wilson, Sarr, Alderete, bench 2. Need to use 2 free transfers. No, I would just play Rice and Sarr, I think. Szoboszlai, Sharda, and Calvert-Lewin for Rice and Manny, or just roll. I quite like that if you're struggling for players on your bench. What are my Haaland plans? Right now to probably keep, and right now to probably not captain. But I got to be... See, when people ask questions, it gets me thinking. Like really, what is the chance of a cameo? Does Haaland just start or not be in the squad? Rice is Semenyo captain. I don't personally think that's worth it, but a lot of people like Semenyo captain. I got rid of Haaland for Ekatika. Do you keep those funds in case you want Haaland or spread them? Well, great question. What's the chances you think you're going to want Haaland back? Are you going to panic if he scores big this week? If not, I'd spend the money. He did cameo against Wolves, but that was a rest rather than an injury. What injury lets you play 30? I don't know what injury lets you play 30 minutes. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. All I'm saying is it's a possibility. I'm just saying it's a possibility. I don't know what more I can say. It's possible that Haaland's in the squad and doesn't start. Like, that is an outcome that could possibly happen. You have to determine what the risk is for that. I don't know what injury lets you do that. Apparently, it's a knock on his knee. I don't know, like, if he's feeling pain. I don't know if he can't run on it. I don't even know if it's a knee injury. I just do not know. So you have to assess whether you're willing to take that risk, you know? But if you want my opinion, it's more likely he starts than he's benched. So again, if you just want to captain him because he probably starts, then captain him. Maybe that does just make more sense. I have saved my team, by the way, for now. I feel like it will take me a long time to forget doing that. I answered your first sub question. Enzo over Munoz. Yeah, Pep Guardiola did say it's not his knee, but today a journalist said we know it's his knee, and then Pep didn't say it's not. Wasn't enough space in the memo. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Again, if you can manage 31, then get Semenyo. Like, I'm probably in the minority of people that are not buying Semenyo. Oh my god, oh my days, where did I get up to? This is insanity. We haven't had a deadline stream like this for ages. By the way, just please do hit that subscribe button. We could hit 492,000 subscribers, I reckon. If everyone in this chat right now who's not subscribed hit subscribe, I reckon we could hit 492. What a joy that would be. Start 2, Rodgers, Rice, and Wilson. Rodgers and Rice. Already used wildcard. Only have one free transfer. Mukiele, Anderson, Guillaume on the bench. Would you play Rice and hope for the best? Mukiele, Anderson, Guillaume on the bench. Would you play Rice and hope for the best, or sell one of Mukiele to Anderson or Anderson to Rayan? I wouldn't buy Rayan, I don't think. I'd probably just play Rice and hope. Anderson's okay on the bench. Would you start Joe Rodon over Haaland or Rice? No. Or would you just start the two and bet on the auto sub? Yeah, bet on the auto sub. 5.6 in the bank. Which midfielder to bring in? Tavernier. Start 1. Krupi, Enzo, Cash. Krupi. Chalobah. Enzo. Krupi. 4 free transfers. Should I do Ekatike, Dewsbury Hall, and Juve? Got Haaland, Thiago, right to do. I'd rather get Tavernier than Dewsbury Hall if you can afford it. And then if you need, like, I don't know, maybe go for like a Goodmanson instead of Juve. Thoughts on Gakpo this week? He's probably okay this week for sure. In fact, he's great this week, I would say. But longer term, not so sure. Worth bringing in a Brentford midfielder this week or wait? Depends. Who are you selling? Haaland, Rice, Mukiele to Thiago, Salah, Gay, 3 free transfers. I wouldn't buy Gay because of the blank in 31, but I mean, I don't hate that. Again, all I can say on the Haaland thing is, I think it's more likely that he starts than doesn't. I think it's more likely that he starts than he doesn't. And there is obviously some risk selling for Salah because Salah's not done great this year. Haaland's ownership is massive. And it's whether or not you want to take that risk. Like, it's fine to sell Haaland. You have to weigh out whether you're willing to take that risk. Anderson versus Munoz. Anderson for me. My son is sending me his team. telling me what do I think. I think I'd roll that. It looks great. He is captaining. Oh, he hasn't got Haaland or Salah. He's captaining Ekatike. Nice. Looks good. Looks good. Of course, he's got Ekatike and Semenyo. I'm starting to get a bit worried about those two. More so Ekatike, but that's only because he did really well last week. I'm just a form merchant at heart, probably. I have Haaland and Wilson currently starting with Rodgers, Bruno, and Dango. Do I take a hit to get Wirtz and Obi to Rayan and Ekatike? Probably not. I don't think. Like at best, I would do the Wirtz move on its own without the hit. 2 free transfers in Ekatike, Dango out, Palmer dead spot, 3 flags. Don't hate it. Yeah. Evan Nielsen for Thiago, 1 free transfer. Yeah, like it. Tavernier over Enzo. Yes. Cunha or Rice to Dewsbury Hall. I think I'd have to sell the guy that's blanking in 31. If not, who should start? Cunha. We have the same team except Munoz is Senesi and Thiago is Ekatike. 1 free transfer. Would you roll? Probably, yeah. Yeah. Sell Evan Nielsen for Ekatike. Want to hold for Burnley. Yeah, but I'd probably sell. Because even if you get to Burnley, will he definitely start? That's the problem. Bench 2, Tarkovsky, Wilson, Hill, Rice, O'Reilly. O'Reilly and, again, Wilson for safety, probably. If you want to go with the assumption that Hill will either start or not be in the squad, then I'd bench Hill. 2 free transfers. Use a transfer to bring... I don't... Oh, I'm so torn on Wilson. Surely... Oh... I mean, if we're saying that Haaland couldn't possibly be benched because of the injury, then surely it's the same for Wilson. But he's rolled his ankle, right? And he played on for a bit, then he had to go off. So what if the ankle's playing him up, but he's enough to play 20 minutes? I don't know. I don't think Wilson's going to start. I really don't. So he's the safe one to bench, right? Have 2 free transfers. Use a transfer to bring Calvert-Lewin for Brobby as first sub. Protection for Rice and Haaland. Senesi and Alderete other bench. No, I would just roll. 3 free transfers currently. We're spending 2 to do Rodgers and Rice to say in Burma, one a Shard or Tavernier. If you can manage 31, I don't mind selling Rodgers, but it is a bit of a luxury. I do quite like those moves. Member for 4 months. 2 free transfers. Haaland and Manny to Ekatike and Calvert-Lewin. Again, yes, if you're willing to take the risk on Haaland, sure, but I think there's more chance he starts than doesn't. So it's whether you're willing to take that risk. Sanchez to Henderson, 2 free transfers. No, definitely not. I'm not really sure. Yeah, unless I'm missing something, absolutely not. Captain Haaland, Ekatike, Bruno, Thiago. Again, if you think Haaland starts, he's the best captain. If not, I would go Bruno. Can you please do a captain poll? Yes, I can. Your game week 29 captain is Haaland. I think Ekatike is pretty popular this week ahead of Bruno. I could be wrong. Bruno, someone else. Maybe it's Semenyo. Maybe Semenyo is... Yeah, look, I can only put 4 options in. Get voting. We've got a lot of people watching, so make sure you get voting. I should pre-warn people because there's a lot more people watching than normal. Maybe there's some new people here. If you're waiting for this massive end to the stream, there is a chance I just roll because it's what I do. It's what I do. Do. Someone else will be big because... Oh, I should have put Salah in there, shouldn't I? Yeah, sorry. Maybe I should have put... No, I don't know if Salah will be bigger than Semenyo, to be honest. Not on his own. How is Ekatike not an option? Because there's only 4 spots, like I said. If I'd put Ekatike in, someone would have said, lol, why is Semenyo not an option? Call of Dude, missed your last super chat. I mean, possibly, yeah, that is... We have the same team. No, I didn't miss that. Didn't miss it. I said I'd roll. Mate, I should start... I should start saying you missed my reply. My son's messaging me now. He's not happy that he didn't hear me talking about his team. It's too late now. It's Too late. Captain Haaland or Ekitike? Probably Haaland. I'm trying to figure out where the hell I got up to. Okay, can I do a captain poll? Should be interesting. 1 free transfer. Enzo to Wilson / Dango. You can't buy Wilson. I would just keep Enzo, but if you're going to sell, I'd go Dango. Start Hill, Goodmanson, or Van der Ven. Hill. And 1 bench, Van der Ven. Haaland, captain, Salah, captain. If I had Salah, I'd probably go for it. I have Wilson and Haaland in my 11, but just Kroupy on the bench. Buy Konate for cover. Don't think so. I would play Kroupy over Wilson. Poll for captain. Yeah, I've already put a poll up now. Start 1. Hill, Munoz, Alderete. Munoz. Bench 1. Wilson, Tavernier, Rice. Wilson. It's going to be funny when Wilson starts and Rice doesn't. Taylor, Purser, 3 months. Currently stuck. Bench 1 of Haaland, Dewsbury Hall, Rogers, or Dango. Rogers. I'm thinking of Haaland and captain in Semenyo. Yeah, I would just play Haaland, I think, if you got him. I have Haaland, bench order, Senesi, Chow, Sarr. Sarr, Senesi, Chow. Start stack over Wilson. Sure. I mean, look, I don't know. It gets to the point on deadline streams where I'm not sure like what to say with Wilson. I think with Wilson, there is a chance of a cameo, and I don't think he starts. So I think... So I do think, deep down, that benching Wilson for a good player is probably the right move, but I'm not sure I can do it for Senesi. Now, logically, if what I've just said is correct, then there is a chance he cameos and I don't think he starts. I should be starting Senesi. But there's something telling me not to do it. And that's why FPL is so stupid, because you don't always do the logical thing. But like, Stack's quite a good option this week. I don't know. I find the default position for most people is like any time someone's yellow flag, the default position that everyone goes to is he'll either start or he won't be in the squad at all. That's all everyone ever says, but I don't think that's always the case, and I don't think it's the case here. But the problem is, it's such a good fixture if he starts. I think most people would just start Wilson and take the risk on the cameo. I might do the same, but I don't necessarily think it's the right move. Like, if I had Rodgers, I just saw someone ask that, I'd probably play Rodgers over Wilson. Chances of getting any Haaland in training leaks. I mean, you'd have to follow the Man City account, I guess, to see if they start posting stuff. They'll probably post it at like 6:01 or something like that. Sorry, I need to cough. Just to confirm, by the way, if anyone's watching, hoping that I'll get some information, very unlikely. I've not had any for a long time, including last week. So right now, I've got as much information about Haaland as I had last week. Surely the FA Cup at the weekend is more important to Fulham than this league game. Maybe. I'm not... Like, I don't really know. I guess because they've got to where they've got in the FA Cup, maybe. But, like, Brentford don't necessarily take the FA Cup all that seriously. They've rotated quite a bit so far. And also, Fulham are... I mean, they're 9th. So, is the FA Cup more important than Fulham pushing for Europe? Don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, if you offered a Fulham fan an FA Cup win or Europe next year, I'm sure most of them would take the FA Cup win, right? No questions asked. But if it's get through another round or two in the FA Cup or push for Europe, surely you take Europe, right? Got to remind my son to feed the dog. There's no news on Rice other than what Arteta said earlier. Got to make sure the dog gets fed. Honestly, there's 13 minutes left. I would stop putting super chats in now because there's so many already. And I'm going to be in a panic soon about my team. Although I really think I'm going to roll. I think captaincy is the big decision now. Captain Haaland, like, is so risk adverse. Captain in Haaland. If I captain Haaland, my hope will be that everyone else in my team is below 100% effective ownership. I suspect Fernandes is going to be over. I mean, the captaincy poll I put in the chat is 48% Haaland. I have saved my captain. Yes, I'm never going to live that down, am I? Never going to live that down. I do wonder how long it will be until I forget to do that again, or forget to check. Probably not. I don't think the chat will let me forget that, so I'll probably never forget again. Oh my god, I don't even know where I got up to. Did the poll question. I did that one. Did the currently stuck one, I think. Haaland for Ekatike. Again, if you want to do it, it's fine. But Haaland, I think there's a good chance he starts. 1 free transfer versus Semenyo, chasing and used wildcard. I personally, I think using a wildcard would mean I'd be very... See, if you're chasing, you're buying a player that's super highly owned that's probably going to blank in 31. And you've used your wildcard. So to me, that doesn't scream chasing. That actually feels like quite a bad move for your position. Do you think Szoboszlai is a good pick? Yes. Start Wilson or Enzo. Again, I don't know what more I can say on Wilson. I mean, I know I can just answer the question. I'm going to say Enzo, but that's like a safety first minutes approach, basically. I think it's absolutely reasonable if you want to start Wilson and risk that he just starts. Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, right, so when someone asks me like Wilson or Enzo, my gut instinct is Enzo. Like, sometimes these questions, it's just best to go with your first thought. But I also think if I really truly think that, I should start Senesi. Because I'm only answering Enzo because I think there's a chance that Wilson cameos. In which case I should be starting Enzo. Senesi. Save the team, by the way. Also, it's quite nice playing 5 at the back. What if Haaland and Rice both miss out, though? And Wilson misses out. I'm down to 10. Oh, God, I hadn't even thought about that. I think Rice plays, though. I think I said that on my video the other day. Like, Rice is just one of those players that always plays. Oh, I really don't know. I really don't know about Wilson. I feel like that's almost getting a bit... It's almost getting more of a difficult decision than captaincy. You should captain Bruno. Newcastle are so poor. I don't think it's a no-brainer. What's playing on my mind is if I keep Haaland, that's because I think there's a pretty good chance he starts. In which case, I should probably just captain him. No. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna roll. At less than 10 minutes to go. Pretty sure I'm gonna roll. A little bit less sure that I'm going to captain Haaland. But still quite sure. It's Wilson. Wilson's playing on my mind. Senesi probably concedes to Thiago anyway, right? Probably. There's got to be a better way to manage these super chats as well so I don't lose them. Keep subscribing, by the way. Just over 300 to go until we hit 492k. That'd be nice. Oh my god, okay. Start Wilson or Enzo. Wilson and hope. Yeah, I did that one. Bench 1. Dewsbury Hall, Rice, and Haaland or Wilson. Wilson. O'Reilly or Cash to start. I would risk O'Reilly, I think. 2 free transfers, no Liverpool asset. Haaland. Okay to roll. Haaland, Thiago Wilson. Creepy first bench. Yes. Would you start Rice, Dangle, or Dewsbury Hall? Dewsbury Hall. And consequently, would you captain Semenyo or Bruno if you had doubts about Haaland? Bruno, you switched to Haaland. News. No news. No news generally. I've got no... I did see earlier, by the way, FPL Main Road. I think he's deleted the tweet now, but he tweeted me earlier to say that I should message him at 5:58 and he owes me one. I'm just saying right now, I am not going to message him at 5:58. I'm not going to message him at all. And I actually already messaged him earlier to say I do not want Haaland info off you. Obviously, if he sends me it, there's not much I can do, and I will read it out. But I'm not expecting him to send it to me, and I'm definitely not messaging him for it. But I will check. So maybe at 5.58 he says something, but I highly doubt it. But I'm just putting it out there right now. Do I think Ahmad will start? I think based on last week, no. I think Cheshire came in, he scored. I think he probably keeps the same team, basically. Oh my god, I'm never going to get through all these. Okay, Captain Thiago, Ekitike, Semenyo, or Bruno. Bruno, Verts out for Semenyo, captain, or -4, or Haaland to Ekitike, captain. I wouldn't take a -4. I would just captain Haaland probably and save your transfer. Bench one of Cunha, Dewsbury Hall, or Croupy. I have one free transfer. Only playable is Enzo on the bench and I have 3 flags in the same team as you. What do you recommend? I mean, if it's the same flags as me, I'd probably just roll. No wildcard left. Bench boost this week with Dubravka, Dango, Goodmanson, Van der Ven. Yeah, you probably won't. But 5 free. If you've got 5 free transfers now, you might be okay. But I'd be tempted to use it. But it's massively risky, especially if you've got yellow flag players. So it's whether you want to take that risk. Do you think it's better to have a mindset of if I sell Haaland to get Salah, there's always route back if needed? Well, there is if you've got the transfers. Honestly, if you sell Haaland to Salah, in my opinion, you don't get Haaland back until 33, probably. If he doubles. Bench 3, Keane, Alderete, Wilson, Croupy, Caicedo. I would maybe risk Keane in your case. I would bench Caicedo and Alderete. Captain Bruno or Ekitike. Bruno, 3 free transfers. João Pedro and Rice to Ekitike and Tavernier. Don't hate it, but it does feel quite luxury. But you've got 3 free transfers, so it's probably okay. Jandra, 35 months. Start Munoz, Hill or Vandenberg. Munoz, Haaland to Salah. Again, I think you already know my thoughts at this point. I don't think there's much more I can say. If you want to go for it, go for it. Moro, 23 months, play Croupy or Wilson. Croupy, we have the same team, just have Mukiele instead of Munoz. 3 free transfers, 2.6 in the bank. What can I do? Yeah, roll and play Senesi. Do you think Ahmad will start? No. Bench one of Haaland, Rice, Dango, Dewsbury Hall. Rice. Start 1, Rice, Keane or Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin. Oh, Calvert-Lewin costs 1 free transfer. Rice, probably. Silva, always 25 months. Start Dewsbury Hall or Enzo. Dewsbury Hall. 5.6 on the back. Which midfielder to bring in? Tavernier. Would you do João Pedro to Ekitike? Probably, if I've got the luxury to do it. Start Rice and Haaland with Enzo bench or use 1 free transfer for cover. 2 defenders, a red flag. Next week, my team is 100%, so I'm reluctant, but they also blank. Yeah, I would just save. I would roll. Play Senesi or Rice. Rice. Start Enzo or Wilson. Enzo. Got triple Arsenal defence. Should I go Timber to Van Dijk? I think it's an okay move, but I don't think it's one you have to do this week. If you've only got 1 free transfer, I'd maybe be tempted to roll. Got in Jai captain. Most exciting captain pick in ages. Good luck. Start 1. Rice, Wilson or Senesi. Rice. When do you plan to wildcard? Probably game week 32, but it's not completely locked in. Rice and Guillou out for Ekitike and Dewsbury Hall -4. I probably wouldn't take a -4. Watkins and Enzo to Ekitike and Gravenberch. No, not for me. I've got Haaland, Mukiele, Wilson, Dorgu. Is it worth a -4 for Mukiele to Anderson and then Zubamendi to Tavernier, or Mukiele to Van Dijk and risk Zubamendi playing? I'd be very tempted by that -4, I think. Yeah, I think I'd be tempted by the -4. I'm not sure. Like, Zubamendi just doesn't feel like a great pick, and 31 he blanks. Haaland and Rice to Salah and Ekitike. Thoughts? Oh, free hit 31. Surely there's less reason to do that if you're free hit 31. You're selling 2 players that are blanking. The whole point of free hit 31 is to keep those players. So if you do it, I would forget about free hit 31. 1 free transfer, Rice to Tavernier. On bench, Senesi Alderete. I'd probably roll. Who to bench? Croupy, Gravenberch, or Enzo? Gravenberch. Bench 1 of Wilson, Hill, Senesi, or Calvert-Lewin. Hill. Got sick of Enzo selling for Tavernier. No Dango, no Wilson. Is there a better choice? No, Tavernier's pretty good on penalties. He should start. There is some risk because he's only just back from injury, but I think the fact he played 80 minutes or whatever last week is probably quite good. First on bench, Croupy or Zubamendi. Croupy. Sell 1. Chalobah. Honestly, don't save your money and don't put any more super chats in because I'm working down and there's already too many, I think, to get through in the next 3.5 minutes, unfortunately. I do appreciate them all, but there's only so much time. Sell 1. Chalobah, Van der Ven, or Konza. Sell 1. Konza's got a good fixture in 31. So does Van der Ven, to be honest. Chalobah's good for Defcons, though. I'm going to say Chalobah, but I don't really have enough time to pick it properly and look at all the next few fixtures. But my gut feeling is Chalobah that I would sell. Best defender replacement. I would probably go for Yoki Madison, I think. Start Yoki Madison or Sarr. Sarr, fade out 2 months. I have Haaland and Rice and only one available player is bench cover. Thoughts on Rice to Sharda? Yeah, Sharda or Tavernier, but honestly, if you've got bench cover, you're probably okay. On the fence, but we'll bench Wilson because Juve has locked down the left wing for West Ham. Fair enough. Good luck. What am I doing? Am I starting Wilson? I think I am going to start Wilson. I think I'm just going to roll, honestly. Wilson, Mukiele, Haaland, Rice, Wilson are all doubtful. Should I do Mukiele to Hill? I've got 1 free transfer. I think Haaland, Rice start. Wilson, yeah. Mukiele to Hill, probably. Mukiele's not that great anyway. Buy Calvert-Lewin to bench or cover Wilson. It depends. If you've got good other bench options, I'd probably... If you've got good other bench options, I probably would just not do that. Start Wilson or Enzo. Enzo, Dangle or Mbermo to replace Verts. In Mbermo, start Wilson or Rice. Rice, Ahmad, big issue. I wouldn't say he's a big issue, but he's probably not starting. Ahmad and Manny to Tavernier and Calvert-Lewin for a hit. I quite like that if you've not got good bench options. Haaland captain, what if he only plays the last 10 minutes? I answered that one earlier. Stack for Tavernier this game we call roll. I would keep whoever you've got of those two. Rice Giu to stack Ekatike. If that's for free, yes. Start Rogers or Dango. Dango. Sold. Oh my God. So, a minute and 52 seconds. I'm going to have to roll because I've got to get through as many questions as possible. I'm just going to double... Sorry. I've got to double check now. This is what I usually do, right? When I'm not panicking on transfers. I usually hit points, hit pick team to make sure. I'm going to captain Haaland. I'm going to vice captain Bruno. And I'm going to roll. And worst case scenario, I hope Haaland and Rice will play. Wilson, I'm less sure about. Hopefully he doesn't cameo. If he does, hopefully Thiago scores against Senesi. Is that the right call, though? I don't think Wilson starts. I'm so tempted to play 5 at the back. I don't know. I don't know. If Wilson wasn't flagged, start him or Mbermo. Probably Mbermo, just about. Oh, no, actually, no. Probably Wilson, just about. Start Rogers or Dango. Dango. Sold Mane for less than a minute. I can't get through these. Sold Mane for Cavalier and 0 free transfers, 0 in the bank. Haaland and Wilson in the team. Rogers, Van Heck and Chalobah on the bench. Worth any -4? No, I would definitely not -4 that. I can't get through all these questions. I'm sorry. I do appreciate them, but there's just been so many. There is 22,000 people watching, and I'm freaking rolling when I've got 3 yellow flags. Isn't that the most boring thing ever? What are we doing about Wilson? What are we doing about Wilson? I'm starting him, I think. I do think if I had Anderson, Enzo, I'd probably start him instead. I'm going to start Wilson and just hope that he's not benched. I'm going to play him. I think if I had Enzo or someone like that, I think I'd play the attacker. I'm going to play him. I'm going to roll. I'm going to captain Haaland. What a boring anti-climax that is. I really wanted Haaland to be out so I could get Salah, but it is what it is. We're locked in. Thank you very much for joining me. That was way busier than normal. Before you all run off, please do hit that subscribe button. I've clicked save. We're so close to 492k. That'd be appreciated. Hit the like button as well. And apologies if I didn't get to your super chat and stuff like that, because there was just so many questions. I tried to like rush through them at the end, but there was just so many people. That was crazy. Wow, over 170,000 views on this stream. That is mental. Do appreciate it. Thanks for not all leaving me after all the nonsense last week when I had no freaking information. I did not get a message from FPL Main Road. I'm going to refresh because Twitter DMs are... I don't know if anyone uses their Twitter DMs that much. I don't. I try not to look at them too much. But I find they don't show the message sometimes. You've got to refresh. But I've just refreshed. There's no message about Haaland whatsoever from anyone. Just like last week. I know the conspiracy theorists want there to be something wrong, but unfortunately there wasn't. Where did 23k come from today? I just think it's one of those weeks where people are unsure because of all the flags and stuff, basically. Don't understand your logic of starting Wilson if you think he doesn't start. I know. I think that's the wrong call. I said this earlier. Like sometimes you don't make the logical call. I think the logical call was to start Senesi. I just couldn't bring myself to bench Wilson for him. Yeah. Your rank helps with viewers as well. Yeah, probably a bit, but honestly, it's more the yellow flags. Like, I never usually get 20. I didn't get 22k last week, nowhere near. Cheers, Irish Mark. KSI has bought a club. Is it Man United? You don't owe anyone info. Yeah, but if I've got info, I will share it. You know that by now. The funny thing is about that whole thing. I don't think I've been the one to have info for a long time. Genuinely, I don't think I've had a leak for ages. The last big leak was Lazy FPL when Haaland and Foden were benched. I don't even remember when I last had info. I really don't. Yeah. For the last deadline stream, you should book out a stadium. Oh, geez, I'm not sure that many people would want to come to a live deadline stream. It would be cool to do something like that. I'm just not sure I've got. Just not sure it's my kind of style. Deadline stream always fun. That was a good stream. Also, I'm so glad there's a little bit of a break now. Hopefully I get a green arrow. It sucks. Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yes, Evan Nielsen did have Evan Nielsen news, right? That is true. But I didn't necessarily. Sorry, that was the first time they messaged. So I just I can't remember if I didn't see it or if I just ignored it. Yeah. 22,000 people watching. I'm rolling with 3 yellow flag. I mean, that is FPL. I will say there is good reason to roll this week if you've not got too many issues, because FA Cup 5th round will get played after game week 29. So we will get a bit more info going into next week on blanks and doubles. Now, again, when you say that, people always think we're going to know exactly who's blanking, who's doubling. We won't. But for example, if Brentford get knocked out of the FA Cup 5th round, that means you know that Brentford and Man United will definitely play in 34, and therefore they can't double. So that's the kind of information you get. I will say it's probably more interesting information for those that have already used their wildcard, but it's still good for us as well that haven't. It's a good advert for your play style for the new people. Yeah, if you're new around here, I'm super boring and I like to roll. But I do think it can be useful in terms of rolling. I've got 3 now, haven't I? 3 free transfers for next week. That's a good position to be in. I did not have too many issues and I used my 3 free transfers. Don't say that after the deadline. Yeah, but you love to use your transfers. You were trying to take a hit last week for Timber and Rice and whoever else. Although it would have been good with Ekatike. Did Celtic Barca manage to copy your move? They didn't. They got Dango instead of Wilson. But, to be honest, I wasn't even necessarily that I thought Wilson was miles better. I thought Dango was a really good pick as well. So I did it for free this week. Yeah, fair play. Fair play. Sorry, I need to get rid of this person. You've got 5 players in your squad not playing 31. Who would you sell and put on your bench to keep? I suspect Rice will get sold and Munoz probably. But I've got 3 free chances so I can decide. This was a good stream. Really appreciated. Your head must be explained. Do you know what? I love streams like that when they're that busy. Like, one, it's nice that people watch, obviously. When you do this as a job, you want people to watch. Preferably people that, like, want to watch and they're not just, like, hate watching or whatever. And it does make it go quicker as well. Not that I'm like bored on a normal stream, but I think sometimes those chill streams where sometimes you get those weeks where everyone just feels like they're rolling and you're sat there for 2 hours and you basically got nothing really to massively talk about. That drags obviously a little bit more. You'll get some drama because you knew Haaland start. Whatever. It's like people are just chronically online and they just always want to believe the worst in people. Unfortunately, that's just how people are when they're chronically online. And I mean, I'm online a lot, but I don't watch people that I don't like. I don't follow people that I don't like. I don't get involved in drama generally. I'll probably spend some of my break just playing World of Warcraft, to be honest. I won't be hate watching anyone, because why would I waste my time doing that? People even hate watch FPL deadlines. I mean, there's plenty of people that seem to always know what I'm doing that don't really like me. But I only ever find out because someone like sends me a tweet or something. Ark Raiders. I you know I did buy it, but I hardly ever played it. What WoW server? I'm not actually sure what server I'm on these days. Horde Alliance. I think I'm playing Alliance right now, but I've got like every character at level 80 apart from the dragon class, which I can't remember what it's called. I've never played a Fallout game. I watch a lot of content this season, too much, but it was you that really got me excited and into fantasy. Nice. Glad to hear it. It's too late now, but just wondering, would it be? This feels good, by the way. Carrying on the stream now, it feels like a bit of a like a relaxation after the chaos running up to the deadline. It's a bit like like if you go to the gym and you have a warm down. That's what this feels like right now. Well, okay, yeah. Look, there probably are. Well, no, I still don't follow people I don't like, but yeah, there maybe there is. Not FPL people anyway, but yes, maybe there are some people in the world that there's like a bit of a hate watch, but we won't get into that. Back to the running content. Yeah, probably not. What was the Evan Nielsen news? There wasn't any news other than what was said in the press conference yesterday. No. Sorry, if you're on about what we were talking, that was ages ago. What class am I maining in Midnight? So I've just hit 90 today on a Devourer. Demon Hunter, but I'm not. I'm really bad for like wanting to play alts, and I'm never happy with what I'm playing. So the chances are I've probably leveled that to 90, and I'll probably end up playing something else. I'll see how it plays at level 90 because I find it's a bit uninteresting. Like if you miss whatever it's called, the collapsing star, it's a bit like this feels bad now. And it's quite easy to miss it. But I'm also just not that good. It says Bruno leaked to miss out. I think he's winding you up, yeah. In Burmo Captain, I don't hate it, but I probably wouldn't have gone there myself. Am I shocked sometimes about how far you've come? I mean, yeah. I mean, it doesn't like sometimes you think it just doesn't feel very fair. Like, why do I I don't deserve this any more than anyone else. So, yeah, you do. It's still, yeah. I don't always think about it because obviously it's still a job. So I get up every day and I do the job. So like you're kind of in the flow. But every now and again, especially during a break, you sit back and think, "Wow, this is great." Biomage, aren't they like rubbish at the moment? 745k overall rank is crazy. Yeah, hopefully it continues, but these things can change pretty quickly. All it needs is a HAALAND benching or whatever this week, and he comes on for 1 point, and I'm sure there's going to be like Ekatike, Semenyo, Fernandez. They're all going to be quite highly owned this week. You've put the work in. Yeah. There's always a balance, right? I can't like I wouldn't sit here and say this is all luck, but obviously there's a lot of luck involved. There's plenty of people that work hard on FPL stuff and they don't get to do it as a job. So it's obviously like a huge privilege, which I am extremely grateful for, by the way. Am I staying for the lineups? I guess I kind of am now because I'm still sat here and they're coming out. Wait, what time? Oh yeah, 7:30. Yeah, they come out in 5 minutes, so might as well. What new? I guess Keane could be interesting. I think Bournemouth and Brentford, if there's any rotation there, that would be interesting as well. Have you ever gatekeeped a player? How would I do that? Oh, you PvP? I can't PvP. I'm too rubbish. And like, it's really, it's you can't really go back to what it was like when I first started playing as well, like open world PvP and stuff like that. Am I going to the World Cup? Highly unlikely, I would say. Have I taken up any other hobbies recently? Not really. Don't think so. I mean, I should do probably. I'd love to like play tennis again. Tennis or try paddle or something like that, maybe. There is luck involved in most successes. Yeah, 100%. Do I still hate AFCON? I'm assuming that's a joke. Can I come to India? I guess I could. Whether I will, I mean, I'm not that well traveled, to be honest. That is one. I know that's like such a cliche as you get older, but I do probably need to start traveling a little bit more. Too much headache. I Captain Ekatike. Oof. Good luck. No, I'm terrible at cricket. I used to play it when I was younger. Golf handicap, don't play. If Thiago gets benched, we all panic. I really doubt he's benched, but you never know, I suppose. Miss my super chat now. Apologies. Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, no. Oh, sorry. Who would you have started, Sanchez or Dubravka? Sanchez, I think. Yeah, Sanchez. Do you reckon the addition of Defcons has catered to your style of play? I think it makes it easier to be patient, which helps me. I think it's worth saying, by the way, I was not that keen on defensive contributions. Every time people went on about it, I was like, I just don't think this is going to make the game better. And to us, I don't necessarily think it has made the game better. It's just made it different. It has opened up a few more players, but I think for us to truly know how DEFCON is, we need to have a season where there's fullbacks that are doing well from an attacking point of view. So there's a genuine question about whether to go for them or the DEFCON guys. And we've kind of lost a lot of them. And we also need defensive contributions to come down a little bit. What I mean by that is, I haven't seen anyone track this for a while, but there was a stage earlier on in the season. People were looking at DEFCONs and they were just massively up over previous seasons. So that's why defensive contribution guys have done so well this year, because DEFCONs are up. Like Gabriel, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he got 0 defensive contributions last year, whereas this year he's been pretty good at them. I definitely prefer DEFCONs over the assistant manager. I hate that chip. I really just don't like it. Longest flight I've taken, probably just 4 hours, to be honest. If HAALAND is bench, will you move to Salah in game week 30 regardless of any news? No. It will depend on the news. Do you think FPL anticipated the fullback taming and that helped inducing? No. I think they would have just done it anyway. 0 DEFCONs, yeah, not 0 points. Obviously, Gabriel was a monster for points last season. KSI bought Dagenham and Redbridge. Nice. Get yourself some box seats. But I live in Ireland. Not been to Dubai. Again, I've really not been like the places I've been. You could probably count on a hand. I've been to. I mean, when I was younger, I went to Malia. I've been to. I mean, I went on a few trips when I was younger to like France, Germany, Belgium. I'm not sure how much I can remember of them. I've been to like Tenerife, Lanzarote, classic, Spain. This might be the first time I've heard you swear, or I'm just bad at listening. Did I swear? You know you can travel and do your job from a boat in the Caribbean. Yeah, that is true. I know. I'm always worried about internet, and I know that sounds so stupid in 2026 because there's so many, like, you can get like satellite internet and stuff like that. Part of it, like, maybe I will do that in the future a bit more. But I do find to like. I mean, I know not everyone would agree, but like if you think the content is good, part of that is because I'm very switched on to always checking loads of info and stuff like that. So if I'm on holiday, it's difficult to be so invested in, like, if I'm in a hot country, it's hard to be invested in doing all the same tracking for FPL. And also I just like recording in my office. It's just so much easier than on a laptop. Have you ever been recognized out in public? Yeah, a few times, but it's not like massive or anything. Galway direction. Oh, I said chip, yeah, not S-H-I-T. I do try and not swear. Portugal, yeah, I've never been to Portugal, but yeah, there's lots of places I would like to go. I'm going to Italy in the summer for the first time. Team news is out. Calvert-Lewin starts. Goodmanson starts. So does Rodon. Sharda, Thiago, Utara. Collins starts. Ayer is out. This is why I would just avoid Brentford centre-backs. So no Ayer. Collins is back in the team. Is Ayer on the bench? Yes, he is. So Collins and Vandenberg. Unchanged lineup. So that means Keane is not starting for Everton. Let me just write all this down a second for Twitter. Dango, Thiago, Sharda, front three. No Keane for Everton. Rodon back in for Leeds. What's the Bournemouth lineup? Let's have a look. Oh, Beto starts in Jai. O'Brien, Tarkovsky. Yeah. So no Keane. I know some people were looking to start Keane. Does Tavernier start? Tavernier and Evan Nilsson starts. Oh, Krupi's bench. Oh my god. Oh my. Oh dear. Evan Nielsen starts over Krupi. That people, oh my god, so many people would have started Krupi and sold Evan Nielsen. I probably would have done the same. That's so annoying. Rayan starts again. This is Rayan. Anything I missed? I'm so jealous now. People have got Dango instead of my Wilson. Oh, Royce. Oh, Royce was benched. So there was some doubts there, but he's not completely out. No, Royce is not in the squad, so the rumours are true. He's not in the squad. Xhaka benched. So that's good for Leeds, I would say. Yeah, there was rumours about Royce. I mentioned them earlier. I think I've got to start heading off. I'm cooking dinner. No, Kelleher's starting. Kelleher's starting. Yeah, Dewsbury Hall's good. Tavernier. I'm a bit worried about my team this week, but let's see what happens. My reason to become a member was the fact you don't try to please everyone. You give your opinion, we decide what to do with it. Keep up and do visit Portugal. Thank you. One day, yeah. I'm not gonna start talking about Man United right now. I've got to go because I think I'm on dinner duty tonight and it's 6:20 already. My wife will be home, so you should be expecting dinner on the table. FPL is my full-time job. Yeah, right. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate it. Also, thanks for making it quite a nice stream, to be honest. There wasn't too many douchebags in the stream at all. In fact, I didn't really see any. So thank you very much. Make sure to give it a like, hit that subscribe button. I don't know when my next video will be because there is a little bit of a break now. But yeah, you seem rattled this week with the troll nest. Do you know what was so frustrating about it? Is because I literally did nothing wrong. That's why it was so annoying. People just making stuff up. I didn't do anything wrong. I had no information. Like someone linked me a tweet saying if you just apologized, it'd be okay. I was like, apologize for what? Like I don't even know what I'm supposed to apologize for. It was just the volume of stuff. Basically, it just got frustrating over the weekend because I literally did nothing wrong. I had no information. I accidentally screwed up the captaincy. Like it happens. Everyone just wants. No one will believe you. Well, people. No, sorry, that's not true. But there's a vocal minority that just they're out for blood. They just want people to mess up because apparently they've got nothing better to do, which is fine. Anyway, I'm gonna go and cook dinner and then play World of Warcraft and track the scores. I think probably have the football on in the background. Yeah. Thank you. I'll see you at some point soon. I'm not quite sure when. But yeah, fingers crossed. Another green arrow on the cards. Probably not though. I'm expecting a red arrow this week. Let's see what happens. Goodbye.